You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Happer and Schaefer.
Good morning and welcome in. Happy Thursday. This is Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone mobile app, the Zone Radio Network. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with a new nameplate and a working wall to play drops from today.
Thankfully.
Joey, you have an open invitation to just rip off as many drops as you want.
Oh, I am going to go full on drops today.
Maybe there'll be some rant gongs today.
From Joey's schedules to Joey drops.
Yeah, I didn't see Joey Leaks yesterday.
Yeah, it was posted. It's scheduled to post at 9:40. You'll have to look at my Twitter at Joey Warcola.
It's a Twitter exclusive, so
it's a Twitter exclusive.
Would you be sad if I said it on the radio?
I don't care.
Okay, all right, good. I'm not trying to steal your reporting. I just didn't see yesterday's. Oh, looks like you went for the full week one primetime slate yesterday.
I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
We're gonna have Lions Bills on Sunday Night Football and Broncos Chargers on Monday Night Football. I am excited.
So my reasoning behind those two, so the Bills are opening their new stadium, so why not open their season at home at that stadium actually, at prime time? And then
they're definitely
then the Monday night at the Charger Stadium, this ESPN ABC is going to be broadcasting the Super Bowl, and it's going to be at SoFi Stadium, so why not at the Chargers? There you go.
Okay.
Have either of you looked at like what the Bills Stadium is supposed to? I totally.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I have missed that
really
they have a stadium coming.
There's all this crazy technology that they have going on because obviously it's in Buffalo and it's not a dome. It's like half a dome.
It's pretty much covering the seats,
right? But they have it where like the snow will pile up on the roof, but it'll melt off and all these things like that. It's gonna be really really cool.
I'm excited for it.
I've made this point before. I just don't feel like Buffalo is a place where they should have nice things. Like I just feel like everything in Buffalo should be old and dirty.
They're finally getting nice things now. The Sabres are going to the playoffs. That breaks their long playoffs drought. They got the Bills got a new stadium.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention Sauter's Jets are now the champion of long playoff droughts.
Yeah, that was
you mentioned
we had
that on
discussion.
Monday.
We had that discussion with Sauter.
Yeah,
I very much didn't want to go to Buffalo for the NCAA tournament. I would go to Buffalo otherwise. So it seems like a place I think I would enjoy in general.
It's too bad our teams are
some
hosting
chicken wings.
them.
Yeah, well, definitely. Like I really feel like if I went there and never had wings at any point in time, it would be just a travesty. Like a culinary travesty.
It would be if you just went to Buffalo and you didn't eat chicken
Right.
wings. Yeah, it'd be awful. It'd be like,
It
why
is
am I
wild
here?
what these stadiums look like side by side.
Yeah, it's nuts. So I'm thinking like, all right, Sunday Night Football for Joey's prediction. They come in and they it's Tirico and they have the aerial shot after Carrie Underwood gets done with her last note of Sunday night, and then it comes in and it goes and Tirico goes from frigid Orchard Park, New York. It's
not going to be
Sunday
cold
Night
anyway.
Football. But now it's not even going to feel that way anymore because of the brand new warm stadium. Even though it's not
They're bringing warmth to this.
it'll be warmth.
How unfair is that?
They're playing the game in September,
Obviously,
so it's not
yeah.
gonna,
This
not gonna
one
be cold
in
at that time.
particular will be in the summer, but
I'm not going to rule it out.
yeah,
It's
maybe
true, it's Buffalo.
maybe he'll say on a seasonably cool night from Orchard Park, New York, it's the rebirth of Are they? I think they're still going to call it Highmark Stadium, right?
Yeah. I think it's new Highmark Stadium.
New Highmark Stadium,
something like
What
that.
a year for Josh Allen.
which is famously not.
Hey,
Yeah,
A
Chris
new stadium.
Chris Collinsworth will be like, now here's a stadium that's covering the seats.
he will.
Now, here's a guy.
Yeah, here's a guy.
He loves Josh Allen. He loves calling him Josh.
I'm getting just talking about Sunday Night Football has me excited. That's my favorite. I'm not
It's
the
so
broadcast guy of the three of us.
It's so good.
The presentation of Sunday Night Football to me is just the perfect.
I just think
aspect.
the repetitiveness of it, right? Like at 7:16, Tirico's going to be talking about where he is, and I just like and Carrie Underwood's going to be finishing that last note of the song. I just love it. There's just a cadence to it.
Aesthetically, it just looks good. There's something about the presentation of their football that's just better.
I was fortunate enough to go to 2 Sunday Night Football games at Lambeau Field, and there's nothing better than
I can think of things.
Watching a night game at that stadium. I watched the first one was the Giants Packers game in 2016.
Okay.
Sat row 9 in the corner end zone. Got to watch Odell Beckham Jr. warm up in person. I was with a group of Packer fans heckling at him, and he blew a kiss towards the crowd.
That's nice.
But I got some good video from that, and then the other one was 2022 Rodgers' last home game against the Bears. Another great experience.
He lost, right?
No, they won that game.
Okay.
I watched
famously.
He owned the Bears.
Yeah, he famously owned the Bears.
I own you, buddy. Now, would you like to be at opening night in Orchard Park, or would you like to watch the NBC broadcast of it? I think I'd like to watch the NBC broadcast.
I'd like to watch the NBC broadcast.
I have no reason to be there. I feel like. I mean, if I was,
I love to support my dear friend Josh Allen.
There's too many Joshes. You have to be careful.
I mean, if the Packers
there's
were
Josh
playing,
P, there's Josh O.
I invite him to my golf tournament every summer, and he never shows up. I know.
What a loser.
I know. Well, no, he's a great guy, but he just doesn't come to my golf tournament.
No wonder why he can't get to the Super Bowl.
He's going to be there. Is that what it is?
Am I worried? What?
He's just worried that Nate Gary's going to be there.
He could be. It's too close. Part of it. Too close in proximity to Nebraska. We're in Dubuque, Iowa. He's like, I can't go past the. I can't go very much further past the Mississippi.
Dubuque. How could you turn down Dubuque?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Unbelievable.
So there you go. Yeah, it has been very busy for John. What did we ever find out what he named his what they named their kid?
No, I just I just saw that they had their child.
They have not publicly announced the name of their daughter. Girl dad though.
Okay.
So there you go.
Congrats, Josh.
And Josh Allen can bond over that. Well, what a fun start to the show.
Yeah, no one saw that coming.
You wouldn't have thought that it was April 9th, but here we are, and the portal is open. It's open for you to join. It's open for you to remove yourself from it and commit to a different team and a variety of different things. I am fresh off of a baseball game that took about 3 hours and 20 minutes last night to play 7 innings. That was nice.
You didn't even get the fast experience of the shortened game.
Well, I mean, that was the concern, that we weren't eventually going to get to that run rule.
Oh.
And we did. So have you ever seen a walk-off home run to run rule?
Yeah,
it's fairly common.
I've seen Nebraska do it.
Yeah, it's fairly common, but it happened last night with
it was happening in the World Baseball Classic, which was kind of fun too.
That's right.
Like Juan Soto hits home run, and everybody just walks off the field.
It's a great time. 16-4 was the final score, and so they crossed over the run rule with a 3-run home run by Lou Rice in the 7th inning to beat North Dakota State, who is now 4-20 on the year.
Woof.
They've only played 24 games, which is one of the more amazing stats about it.
But of those 24, they've only won
4, and one of them was against Vanderbilt, and which is also hilarious. Potentially even more funny. So they hadn't played a game in 18 days before last night.
What?
They had 2 consecutive weekend series snowed out.
Oh,
because the Summit League did a really smart and normal thing, which was schedule series in Fargo in late March and April. And shockingly, they were not able to play those series. So they hadn't played in 2.5 weeks. And they still haven't played a home game. They still don't play another home game for like 2 weeks. Absurd. College
It's got to
baseball.
be really hard to have a baseball.
College
program
baseball
up
in
there.
Fargo is a tough. That's a tough deal.
And it's probably a tough sell to get a dome that would not be used for anything other than,
Can
your
they make-
baseball.
Yeah, maybe you could finagle some way where you play in the Fargo Dome.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you make it work in there?
I'm
Like,
guessing it's probably not big enough in some areas.
Probably not. Yeah, because I
Um,
mean the Viking Stadium is the
right.
only football dome that gets used, and that obviously is gigantic
Right.
and multi-purpose.
And
in
they
nature.
built it with the idea
Right.
that they would be able to do that. I'm guessing the Fargo Dome, just like the Dakota Dome, is a much smaller enclosed area.
I feel bad for them boys.
maybe the football team gets a lot more money for going to FBS, and they expand that stadium. Therefore,
Okay,
you get
you're talking about new Fargo Dome.
new Fargo
We
Dome.
want to build new Highmark Stadium in Buffalo, and now new Fargo Dome in Fargo.
They probably do want to build a new Fargo Dome. It's been around for a little while. So
Yeah, it's
I
getting
would
there.
think.
It's getting there. All right, new Fargo Dome, and then they can play every single baseball game they want to, even when there's 8 feet of snow
they can
outside.
invite other Summit teams to come in. And
They can
play.
have like a February jamboree where instead of going to Florida, you could go to Fargo
Dome Madness.
and play baseball.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Sign me up for that.
Hell, you could play the Summit League. You could play half the Summit League schedule there over the first couple
I mean,
weekends.
that's what I'm just thinking. Like, just make it the Summit headquarters of baseball.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. So there you go. That's the update from Creighton baseball last night. Who, weather pending, will play 3 games this weekend against Seton Hall, another team that has been bad.
Home away.
Home.
All right.
Home.
That's right. You were telling me about the potential for a
Could be.
long Friday.
Could be some interesting things weather-wise going on, but we'll find out more on that over the next 24 or so hours. But like I said, coming up today on the show, we will talk to Brian Christopherson coming up at 8:30. We will talk to Max Olson coming up at 9:15. And we will, I think, finally, for real, catch up with Sarah Baker Hansen coming up at 7:30. We
We'll
have
get there.
questions. I have food questions.
We do have questions.
I have sandwich questions. I'm looking at a sandwich bracket right now, and now I'm thinking about sandwiches.
A good thing to think about.
A
Though-
place.
Hashtag what's for lunch?
A place. So she did all of Omaha, or not all of them, but like the Lincoln and Omaha sandwich scene. And then there was a bracket and there was voting. A place that you and I went to get a sandwich one time. It made the Final Four of the semifinals and lost to an Omaha establishment. And then they
That's a
lost
good run for them.
to another Omaha establishment.
Okay, so we did get a winner. Speaking of brackets, we did get a winner for the Omaha food fight.
Tell me.
Dinkers is crowned champion.
Dinker!
Won by 1 vote.
Mike Sauter. Has never
One
been.
vote?
Yep,
That's
Wow.
incredible.
that's what I was told.
So Dinkers beat the Drover.
Yes, they did.
Wow.
Are you surprised to learn that Mike Sauter has never been to Dinker?
He doesn't seem like a big greasy burger guy.
I think he likes burgers.
Yeah?
It's like shocking to me. He's never.
But I'm
done
just
that.
like, I'm thinking about Sauter. I'm just thinking like not a big greasy burger
I don't
guy.
even think of Dinker's burgers as like big. I just think
Yeah,
of it as
just-
like a bar burger,
Your bar burger.
and they do it very well.
Yeah. Like a dirt, not to be like, I love it for this reason, but like a dirty burger, you know, like a dark burger. Sauter doesn't seem
It's-
like he would
it's
enjoy
not-
that.
Like, I don't think you go to Dinker's and then take a picture of their burger and it's
Put it on Instagram.
Yeah, but
Good-
that's not
good
the
one.
point of it.
Good
It's-
one.
and that's part of its just absolute appeal. Is you go there and you eat the burger because it's fantastic. That's why.
Good one.
It's not because you're going to win aesthetic awards on food Instagram.
Yeah. Although somebody should use that as an avenue to have a different Instagram account where they just post like unflattering pictures of burgers.
It's still good.
Like I told you the other day, I can't remember if it was on air or off air. I had the big arch, as you told me about.
Yeah.
And I know you told me that it was expensive. I was shocked to learn that it cost more than $9.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, look, because we're moving and stuff's going on. I'm like, stop off at McDonald's, just get a bunch of stuff and then come home. And then I got a couple McChickens, a couple large fries, and I was like, you know what? Let's get a big arch. Let's just see what's going on. $9. That was
Yeah.
a third of the whole order.
Yeah.
It's the big arch. I paid $27 for McDonald's, and I
That
didn't even get the full. I didn't even get drinks. You're an idiot. Thank you.
I was
Fanta?
at an establishment the other day and was looking at the menu prices and was just like, how did we get here? How am I going to spend this much money for just me?
Dude, I don't know.
And then I did.
I go to Vegas now, like I did this past weekend, and I'll pay $50 to eat by myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is normal. What happened? This is terrible.
They're terrible.
And you understand. There we go. Joey's back.
Thank you, Joey.
And you understand going into Vegas that it's going to be expensive, but even then, you're just, you're like, okay, cool. This
There's
sandwich,
nothing you can do about it.
This sandwich without a side is $37 at this place.
Oh yeah, you want fries? That'll be $46.
No, we don't do sides. You can just get an appetizer for $17.
Mm-hmm.
That's a super normal $54 sandwich and fries meal right there.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, but I still enjoy the food, and I will continue to enjoy the food. There's only one.
You think I'm skipping meals over here?
No, nope, me neither.
Get off!
So
just
anyway,
finding new jobs to pay for those meals.
Nice, good idea. I've done that before as well. Get 100 jobs if you don't want to pay for food. If you don't want to make it hurt when you pay for food anymore. So Sarah Baker Hansen, anyway, long way of saying that, will join us at 7:30. Also, it's Thursday, and so coming up at 8:00. I have an opinion. You all surely have opinions. What could they be about?
I have several that are ready to go, though I see inside of the rundown, there's one that could come up before we even get to I have an opinion.
Oh.
So, guessing you can figure out where.
I think I have an idea.
I think so too. Is it about people on ESPN jumping into the pond?
It's not about the pond. It's about a specific name in there and just the overexposure of said person.
Okay, I think I know who you're talking about.
Well, many of those guys have been on television a lot.
I know the particular person because I've been seeing it across social media yesterday.
Anyway, so maybe Schaefer will throw in their opinion. You know what? Let's say this. Let's give people some incentive. We still have packs of Supernovas tickets, right?
Yep, we do.
All right, so send in your opinions any way you can. I'll tell you how to do it in just a second. Send in your opinions, and you get a chance to win a 4-pack of Supernovas tickets for Sunday. Here's how you do it. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at Happenschafe, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. You can email Connor, Mike, Joey, 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Or you could leave a comment on our YouTube. Like many people are doing this morning, commenting on burgers. Kyle says $9 to shave half a year and a half off the end of my life seems a bit steep. You don't think one big arch saves a year and a half off your life?
Food items people say that about?
I know.
It's like constant. And then, like there's a million things you do in life that are way worse for you than
obviously
eating a singular
it's not very healthy, but everything in moderation, right? You could eat some.
But it's not like you're eating it every day.
No.
Or even every week.
Now, if they really did it so it was one big arch for 1.5 years of my life, I don't think that I would do that. But that's not the truth.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. I like the big arch.
The problem is it'd be like really tempting just to know how good a sandwich might be if it was going to cost you a year and a half of your life. Like,
that's true.
What if everyone universally agreed that it was an incredible sandwich, but you also universally agreed that you'd be giving up 1.5 years?
Like there was all these blogs on the internet about how worth it was.
Not just blogs. Somehow you like intuitively know that this is going to be an unbelievable food.
Okay, and then let me add on. It's free. Except for
they're
it's a
giving
year,
it to you.
It's free except for it's a year and a half of your life.
That's all you're paying.
Yeah.
All you're paying. And then it's like, okay, well, that last year and a half of my life,
would you eat it?
I could be feeble inside an assisted living or senior resident or whatever.
But I had that burger.
Dementia ward. All sorts of terrible things could happen for a year and a half. Or I could have this burger.
Yeah.
Or you could be in the prime of your life. I mean, you never know.
So that's a really good dumb debate that we missed yesterday.
Yeah.
Would you trade a year and a half of your life for a burger?
For just a mind-blowing culinary experience.
Yeah, like an incredible burger. Yeah.
But it's a burger.
Yeah.
It has to be a burger.
Okay.
Because otherwise, like...
I don't think I would. A burger can't be that good. I mean, a burger is awesome. I love a
Right.
burger, but I know that there's a bunch of other burgers that would make me feel similarly and not steal a year and a half off of my life.
It just depends. It would be
I-
great to
no
know
deal.
if I knew how long I was theoretically going to live.
No deal. Yeah, I mean, obviously that you don't think
You know, what's the difference between 82 and 80?
Yeah.
2.
But what if it's like
49 and 47?
Yeah, what if it's lower than that? Yeah.
Give me all of those years. Yeah. No, I get it.
All right, we are off and running on a Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. Glad you are here. Feel free to chime in throughout the show today. Excited to be joined by all of our guests. And once again, get your opinions in for I Have an Opinion coming up at 8. We'll be back after this on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. All right, happy Masters Thursday to all who celebrate. If you celebrate by having takes on the internet, it's a good time. It's a good time for you. If you watched the part 3 contest yesterday, you may not have liked the very cute things like little kids hitting the ball into the water. You know, we were like, oh, sucks for that kid. I'm like, geez, man, it's okay. Now we have started to televise this thing, and unfortunately, like something's going to have to happen because this has turned into a giant sideshow now, capped off by Jason Kelsey, Pat McAfee, and Bert Kreischer jumping into a pond yesterday, which that was not good. I am all for having fun, but people who have listened to me for a long time know I like decorum as well. This is a decorum event. All right. The waste management is for drunken debauchery and people to show up and jump inside of bodies of water. The Masters is not, in my opinion. I love fun. I promise you. Don't put it on the internet that I don't love fun. But this is not my ideal.
But you're not ideal version of fun.
Not at the Masters.
So I might as well just do I have an opinion on this.
Rip
early. It. Do we need Jason Kelsey everywhere?
No.
Why is this just a Taylor Swiftification of life that because this is her future brother-in-law, we just have to have him in all assets?
He's funny. He's on TV too much.
It's not that he isn't of value to what he can do. It's that what we have done and what always tends to happen, and ESPN is incredibly guilty of this, and I feel like I go on some sort of ESPN crusade every day now, but here we are.
ESPN's on TV right now.
I still consume the product. I'm part of the problem. Anyways, they love to just overexpose the hell out of whatever someone finds enjoyable. That's actually a huge part of the sports media problem for me anyways. When there's just something that has a modicum of interest and excitement, it gets blown out to the point where I'm sick of it and it just started. I don't need to see Pat McAfee everywhere. I don't need to see Jason Kelsey on all of these different sports broadcasts because usually he doesn't really offer anything more than I need or that I want. And as enjoyable as he can be, when you put him on everything, when he's part of everything that you do, it loses value. The overexposure of it is not enjoyable. And so it's just I don't understand. And it's not just Jason Kelsey and it's not McAfee. It's also when Deion Sanders was of interest, you had to hear about it all the time. It's just we take something that's just a little bit interesting and then we just make it everywhere.
They can always write it off. What they say, I'm sure, when people ask ESPN executives about this is it's promotion. It's cross-sport promotion or whatever it might be. It's exposing this audience to college football people or NFL people or something like that. Hey, if you like these guys, you might like what you see. They're on TV all the time talking about college football, which I think that's a lie as to why they're there.
Right.
That's not what it might be a subproduct of why they bring them to these things, but I can't figure out why they feel like they need to be on television all the time, but they comment on, it's Stephen A, right? Stephen A is on there commenting about everything. Pat McAfee is on there talking about everything. And I'm like, man, I don't need this. I'd like to hear from the experts on this. And especially when you have an event like this, the Masters, that once again, it's about the sort of quiet, serene, back, tree covered area of Georgia, right? It's a very peaceful place.
Sure.
Right. And here you got the rowdy bunch yelling and jumping into a pot. It's just like that, it's sort of Happy Gilmore all over again.
Kind of.
It is.
Why did people like Happy Gilmore and Happy Gilmore? Because he was a disruptor. And I agree with the PGA.
It's too much noise.
And Happy Gilmore. I agree with Shooter McGavin. Shooter.
You live long enough to find yourself become Shooter McGavin.
Maybe I have become Shooter McGavin.
That's all right. I like there's aspects of Shooter McGavin you don't want to emulate, but there's things about it that I can understand, I can appreciate. A lot of it is we've just gotten really big into the cult of personality, and that's just become this whole thing. Like the singular individual has become so massively important in promotion and everything else, whether it's Jason Kelsey, whether it's Stephen A. Smith, Pat McAfee, Deion Sanders. Like it's just about the singular of the individual so much all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the draw. And these things wouldn't exist if people weren't paying attention, but then it's just like it becomes so much so quickly. I immediately just like I don't need to do this.
It
anymore.
just doesn't like they're always trying to. I mean, for example, the Masters has a different, type of viewing audience than a lot of the other sporting events that we do. Like there are golf tournaments that we have that are the wild and crazy jump into pod,
Sure.
and let's get as drunk as we can, events and stuff like that. And, the Masters has never really been that. And I don't know why we have to feel like this is ESPN, and it's somewhat on Augusta National for allowing it to happen.
It's just a little surprising given the way that they protect literally everything.
I just
like
don't.
we can't watch coverage this morning.
Right.
Because that's
I suppose we could open up the app.
incredibly precious. Yeah, we have ways to get to it,
but I
you
don't,
can't watch televised coverage because they protect that.
I don't know why we have
to
to make all the other events this one. Like, why can't we sort of keep it unique? Keep it its own thing. Keep it inside of its own bubble. The bros have to be there.
Always going after the bros.
The bros have to be there. But the bros don't like this.
Do they not?
I don't know. I would.
What do you think? Big T? Big T probably liked this.
Do you think Big T liked when Bert Kreischer took off his shirt and jumped into the lake?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
I'm sure he does.
Big T probably just took off his shirt in a Pavlovian response because Bert Kreischer took off his shirt.
I'd be curious to hear what the Barstool. We should turn on the Barstool show this morning because I think the Barstool people are like me. I think the Barstool people are like, no, this is not right.
I don't know. I really don't.
It's obviously there's 150 people at that thing, and they all have different takes. But
150 seems low.
Yeah, I don't know, 1 billion people at that thing, and they all have different takes. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. By the way, we got a couple comments here from the folks. Zachariah writes in on YouTube. It's not enjoyable to you because you are a Debbie Downer and you hate anything exciting or fun. See, I also think this is a brainwash corner as well. Like you have been, for some reason, you have been trained to think that everything that happens that is sort of absurd, like a guy taking his shirt off and jumping into a pool, like that's automatically fun, and that's automatically more fun than just normal golf playing. But I disagree.
There's a certain limit.
When I play golf, I like to have fun, but my version of fun is not like playing explicit rap music at volume 36 so everyone can hear it on the golf course. That's not fun for me. I'm not having fun when that happens.
You should ask Brunks about Bluetooth speakers.
Oh, me and Brunts are probably handshake me on this. I'll bring the Bluetooth speaker. It's quiet.
Yeah.
I like to play golf because it's relaxing.
Level of which it plays. Yeah.
I'm not like drinking to fall over by number 9 while I'm playing golf. That's just not how I operate when I play golf. And I didn't think that was the Masters either, but apparently it is now because dudes are jumping into ponds. How loud is your music when you golf?
Well, usually I'm not the one that ever brings the speaker. And then
same,
I'm never the one that's like, oh, I want this for the music, or I want I'm totally fine with having it, by the way. Like I play it, whatever. I don't care. It's just if I went and played, I have a speaker. I might use it, I might not use it. It doesn't really change the round for me a whole lot.
Agreed.
Like it's not like I can't go out and play 18 holes
unless it's too loud.
I mean,
so loud. Everything is so loud.
I prefer it to not just be like straight up bumping the entire time. But again, I'm sort of in the indifferent when it comes to the Bluetooth speaker camp. But you know, as long as it doesn't bother other people, I'm usually going to be fine.
We should definitely remind ourselves to ask Brunts about the Bluetooth speaker. I need him to go on a rant.
Brunts has thoughts. He has many thoughts.
Text from the 515. So Hap is Judge Smales, basically.
I like this.
I kind of am. Haven't you ever heard of Decorum?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's great because I love Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, I love that movie, but yeah.
Text from the 402. Easy fix. Stop watching ESPN. I did, and it's great. I can't. I want Masters coverage.
They own too many properties.
I know. I want to talk about college football.
And the NFL and all these other things. And you want to watch your baseball team, you have to be involved with ESPN to a degree.
That's true. I'm on ESPN sometimes.
Yeah.
Plus,
I didn't get to watch my baseball team this last few days.
Well, you should have subscribed to Royals.tv.
That's all right.
You didn't want to see their
Tom Hamilton.
You wouldn't see their million new broadcasters, and the Royals score a grand total of 3 runs over 3 games.
No, it was more than that.
It was 4, I think.
Yeah, you almost got the prediction right again.
Yeah, I was, except for I missed by 6.
Well, there was a stretch there where it was 4-2, and I was like, man, is he going to do this again? And then they brought in Steven Cruz, who gave up. Also,
I've just seen too many Guardians Royals games over the years.
There was a conspiracy that the Guardians had picked up the Royals signs and were tipping off from second base. And so that led to the Grand Slam. I'll show you the tweet.
Oh, I was going to say it was it a burner?
It's like a Guardians account that was praising the runner on second base for he'd lift his left arm up if it was a fastball and his right arm up if it was a
people get up in arms about that on Twitter. They're like, do you see this? These guys are stealing signs. Like, yeah, that's what happens when a guy goes to second base.
Generally on the catcher and pitcher in that.
Yeah.
It's when you use the cameras from the outfield that it's a lot bigger of a deal.
Sure. Yeah.
In my opinion.
Start banging on trash cans and have devices that buzz in your on your
buzzers.
Yeah. Weird.
Super normal stuff.
Weird. Yeah, Mike says Cruz was tipping pitches. There you go. Don't tip pitches, folks. Tip your bartenders. Don't tip pitches. With that all being said, by the way, I would still love to go to the Masters and just not jump into a pond.
Yeah.
Buy a whole bunch of merch.
My thing
I
is
just buy so much
just
merch.
respect the
I
event.
need a little less Jason Kelsey. I don't need him at every event. I'm sure he'll be at the Kentucky Derby. I'm sure he'll be at he'll probably be at the College World Series. You'll probably have an opportunity to interview Jason Kelsey at some point during the College
Holy
World
crap,
Series.
you're right.
He's going to be here. Donna's going to be here promoting her Lifetime movie.
Oh yeah, I recently heard that she got a house makeover.
Oh wow,
yeah.
Like, have they become America's family? Like, is this?
I think so.
Is this a representation of
By the way,
society we have now?
when's the Travis and Taylor wedding? That's got to be coming up soon. That'll be televised, I'm sure.
Didn't get an invite.
Interesting. Debo writes in, we do need to mention that it's time for the greatest sports app out there, the Masters app. Shout out. Now, is it the Masters app or the March Madness app? Both of which we get to use in this span of like 3 weeks here. But they're both incredible.
I never used the March Madness app.
So I'm
because you just watch on TV. Yeah.
So, but the Masters one I use all the time because you can just get the different positions of the the hole.
So going back to your question on the wedding, Connor, I'm seeing reports. Not sure if it's true, but June 13th of 2026. So at the start of the CWS.
Whoa! So
that Saturday.
That will keep Jason Kelsey away from here. That is
Unless
tremendous.
he comes for the championship series.
That's okay. I'll be out of here by then. John will be back on the sideline.
Yeah, John could handle that
with his fixed wrist.
Oh yeah, that was a year ago.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about that.
All right, let's take a break. We will come back, round out the hour. Want to hear from you all, 402-951-1620. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. I don't know what it is, but every time I see one of those tweets, that's especially right now during the during portal season when everybody's a little bit on edge. Every time I see one of those tweets that says, "Just got a text," and all I can say is "Wow," that's always funny to me. I don't know why that works for me so much.
This goes into the Matt McMaster thing from the other day where he doesn't like the vague tweet.
Oh yeah, right. But as long as you know and understand that it means nothing and it is
Right,
vague posting, that you're going to be okay. And I think that is the case for a lot of folks out there as it pertains to the transfer portal. Let's do a quick update. I want to get into a couple more topics about the portal, when we start off the 7:00 hour. But just to update you from yesterday, all right, local happenings, local basketball team happenings. So Creighton now has Owen Freeman, Ty Davis, Josh Townley Thomas, Blake Harper, Fedor Zugic, and then not confirmed, but Karam Konan and Alexa Dmitrievich into the portal. Which so not sure on those last two, but that seems to be where it was headed. Newcomers, obviously, we'll talk about this more as we go on throughout the show. But Oswin Arunze from Providence, a guy that Creighton recruited heavily out of high school and ended up missing out on, played 2 years at Providence, now coming back or going to Creighton. So a little Big East on Big East crime there, and then Creighton was putting out official videos yesterday or like graphics of guys who are coming back. The ones that they did were Jason Green, Isaac Trout, and Austin Swartz. Mildly surprising on that one. And then some momentum turning seemingly in the direction of Jackson McAndrew, Hudson Greer coming back. And then you have guys that I haven't mentioned from last year's roster, Liam McChesney, who was on his 8th year of college basketball and got hurt again. I don't see him playing next year. And then Shane Thomas as well. So a sort of busy first couple days for Creighton in the portal. For Nebraska, Quentin Rhymes, Justin Bolus, and then surprisingly Berke Bukten gel yesterday. People did not take that very well. Honestly, no. We'll talk about that more in the 7:00 hour, but I don't blame them. I mean, I don't really get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Nebraska does not have any newcomers yet. They don't have anybody quote unquote confirmed back at this point. They haven't done any of the videos of saying, hey, this guy is back. And nobody, to my knowledge, now it's hard to canvass everything, and I'm not on the gram as much as some folks are. Usually a lot of this stuff will happen on the gram. Hey, I'm back. I can't wait till next year, whatever. I haven't seen any of those for Nebraska yet. And so then the guys hanging out there, Price Sanford, Connor Essegian, Oogie Boogie, Boboogie, Cale Jacobson, Braden Frager, Leo Curtis, and Will Cooper. So those guys are out there, and you're looking for announcements on them. As far as the numbers are concerned, that is where it stands right now. There was a lot of reporting yesterday on some guys that Nebraska was interested in, some guys that Creighton is going after as well. What did you think of the first, it felt like the real, obviously the portal's been open for 2 days now, but yesterday sort of felt like the first real day of the portal.
Yeah, a big news heavy day of the portal, certainly for Nebraska. A pretty sizable portal effect, if you would, with Berke, and we'll get more into that. And so I don't want to go too deep into that right now. Overall, I mean, it just the player movement just feels like it's massive. So
big. I
was looking at the list of the top 40 that one outlet has, and it's like, man, you could go even deeper than that.
Oh, I know.
There's so many names.
I think there's going to be more that go. I mean, there's going to be a lot more that go in today, tomorrow. There's going to be guys. I imagine that there's still, a few big bombshells across college basketball of guys that go in of like, oh, wow, that guy was an all-conference dude last year. He's going to command X millions of dollars in the transfer portal.
It's, again, another way to point out that, and Matt Rule took some grief for saying this, but, just because you've upped the amount of money that you think you're going to have, if you're Nebraska basketball and you're at a different level than you were last year, great. So is everybody else.
Yep.
And worse than that, everything costs a lot more. It's a lot of big arch pricing out there in the
everybody's a
transfer
big
portal.
arch.
And so
And I'm just little old me.
Yeah,
I just want to make chicken.
That makes life a little bit more difficult, and you have to have a game plan. You have to have a general idea of the type of players that you want to get, and have already probably been working towards that.
Yeah,
Like that's the thing about the tampering is like everyone has to do it out of necessity. It's happening to your roster. You have to be involved with it so that way you can hit the ground running.
We'll talk about
You have to be very adaptable.
Yeah,
but you also have to have a line for pricing. Because if you don't, you're going to get upside down, and that's the worst place to be.
You'll see a lot of reaction to all this stuff that goes on, and people proclaim that their team is either very, very rich or very, very poor, and sometimes they'll be proclaiming the same thing on the same day. You know what I mean? Like that's why I try not to get into the money thing very often. Mostly because we don't know the hardcore figures, and nobody knows their own hardcore figure on what they can spend, like what they're capable of spending. Because if you're in a situation where you get a couple weeks down the line and you need to fill out some roster spots, or you need to fill out one roster spot, and there's one guy out there and he commands X amount of dollars and he's shopping that dollar figure out to other people, you're going to want to pay for that guy because you need him on your roster. And so if you ask for 500 grand more to put that negotiation over the top, you're probably going to get it from, from your donor base or from, whatever it might be. And so there's it's all so static. It all moves so quickly. And so I think it's, like it might be the most simple thing to say there is rich and there is poor, and there's like an in between, and nobody knows what's what. Like if you're spending $10 million on a roster for next year, all inclusive, like this is a resort. If you're spending $10 million on a roster next year,
that was a big number 2 years ago.
Is that high? Is that low? Like, what is that
not
now?
Anymore?
In your conference, what is it? Like, some of it depends on your peers and what are they spending as well. And then most of it depends on who you're negotiating against, right? Like, and that could be different on one guy. So maybe you're rich for one guy and poor for another.
If you're trying to get a power conference player to move to you, more than likely you're starting in the 7 figures and working, you're not getting to 8 figures, but you're in the 7 figures, and you've got to work your way to that number. Like, that's not what it used to be. When you talk about a guy becoming available later, or money comes in at different times, I mean, for Nebraska basketball a couple years ago, Braxton Mia ends up on their roster, not necessarily because that's who they sought out for at the beginning of the portal.
He was the guy that was there.
He was the guy that was there, and they had an influx of money come in late because they needed the guy that was there, because Max wasn't going to be available all year. And so then one of the most expensive players that you have is this imperfect fit for your entire system, because you need to have a guy. And that can have an effect on your roster too. And I think it kind of
did definitely
for Nebraska last year.
Oh, it definitely did.
Where you had a couple guys take a lot less and then see that happen at the end of the portal.
Yeah, you get into chasing it turns it pretty quick. So let's take a break here, and we'll talk about Bear K and the moves of yesterday and what potentially is on the horizon. Also, I have a take about the portal that I think will be a fun conversation as well. So we'll do that coming up in the 7:00 hour. We have plenty to come on this opening Masters Thursday. Happer and Schaefer rolls on. 7:00 hour coming up on 1620 The Zone. I feel like an old man trying to figure out where to watch. How do I watch the Masters? So
No, if you want to be an old man, you grab the newspaper and look through the listings.
that you know what? I haven't done that, Joey, in such a long time, but I did used to love doing that.
Yeah.
I did used to love doing it. Now it's just, you don't need it anymore.
I like getting the TV guide as a kid. Like you.
Oh,
would,
yeah.
like the actual book?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that too.
That's
And you just like look through, or there used to be when, like, whatever reason we had HBO, they would send a little pamphlet each month, and it would have little descriptions of all the movies or the shows or whatever. I loved this. I loved having the schedule. I was like a little Joey.
Did someone
Colbert.
say schedules?
I loved having the schedule in front of me for what was going to be on for the month, so I knew when it was going to be on and all of it. And then you get like the guide channel on the actual television, and I never liked that as much.
No, I know. Once that happened, it really was like a breaking point.
Yeah.
It was like a broken glass, and everything just changed after
Well, I
that.
didn't want to like sit on the guide channel and wait for the channel that I wanted to come up. And then
Yeah.
you had the interactive one. You could move through it that way. And that didn't feel like that was that appealing.
Well, appointment television watching
yeah,
that doesn't exist anymore.
I like the guides that go as far as 2 weeks. So like when it's the NFL season, I like to see who's on TV in Omaha before the 506 Sports unveils their TV coverage maps.
You would scroll ahead to
Yeah,
Is that accurate?
Yeah, sometimes it's accurate.
I was going to say, it can't be all the time because they make switches inside the.
Yeah, they do. But you could go as far as 2 weeks ahead.
506 Sports I used to go there all the time. As a kid
now
because I wanted to know, what Columbus was going to.
Well, they have
get
the
with
maps, yeah.
My 2 games that I was ever allowed to get.
See, I don't care about the maps because I watch football. I watch the NFL and Red Zone.
Well, yeah, but you don't care now.
I got
but
the YouTube
growing
TV.
up. I don't know if you would have cared then either.
I didn't really care about the NFL as a kid.
Yeah, so I did, and you're forced to have the Chiefs all the time, and then it was like whatever NFC North team was playing well was going to be the television.
Correct.
Either
And
the
so then-
Packers, Bears, or Vikings. Mainly Packers and Vikings.
Not usually the Lions. They sucked.
Rarely ever the Lions.
But those were the olden times, and these
Yeah,
times
still
are
suck.
different.
Detroit still sucks.
Now
they were
I
last.
have 100 different apps, and I don't know which one does what. I'm watching. We're in studio. Our television is the Roku. We're using the Roku, and I don't think it has the Masters app, or at least I couldn't find it. So then I have to wait until the ESPN app.
They structure
coverage.
everything through the ESPN, but then you have to.
They don't do the featured group. They don't do the featured holes until 7:45.
Well, they have to get to the
They
hole.
have to get to the holes, right? And
Yeah.
then so we can't take
You'll
in
be
any
fine
golf
once you
coverage.
get there. It's just the wait. It's they won't let you see holes 1 and 2.
I suppose I could cast my computer to the television. That would fix our
That was
problem.
one of the suggestions from the internet when I looked at it. It's like, I don't ever cast. Do you cast much?
I cast a little bit. I don't
Yeah.
mind casting.
I haven't really gotten into the casting. Normally there's enough avenues to whatever it is I want to watch. I don't have to cast.
Sometimes I use the casting as like an extra, and I'm sitting in my living room. I remember like when we were looking at houses, I would pull up my computer and then I would cast my screen up to my television.
Oh, okay.
It was
Yeah.
great.
That's nice.
It was great. And then we could all look at houses. Too.
Okay. I hadn't considered that as a use for it.
It was
to
a
be
fun
honest.
one.
Going back to TV, you remember there used to be a channel dedicated to houses. It was pretty much an automated voice, but they would go through the different houses.
I vaguely remember
like all the
this.
houses for sale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
houses for sale in the metro.
Vaguely.
That used to be a
remember
thing.
it. It seemed like a bigger deal in Lincoln when I lived there than certainly in Columbus. So.
Yeah, I remember this. That's good. Or like you would call time and temperature.
Oh yeah.
Things of that nature.
696 for me.
God, I don't remember the number at this point, but it's great. Michael Severe writes in on YouTube. I've been going to the sports bar to watch NFL Sunday Ticket, or before. Okay, what is this? The Ticket KU and C band satellite since the late '80s. Refused to watch what they forced on me. Yeah, if you don't want to watch the Chiefs, which it seems like Michael is just trying to avoid the Chiefs.
Most
And
people did
You
for a
go
long
to the
time.
you go to the sports bar.
Yeah, like it was a revelation to me when I was 22, moved back to Columbus to work at the newspaper there, and would just go to the sports bar on Sunday and get every game. Whereas my childhood was just like, here's what you get on Fox and here's what you get on CBS. And if you want something else, too bad.
And then you realize sports bars were a thing.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like I grew up.
That was really when I got into the NFL in college. When me and
bar.
Jake Sorensen and Lanny would go watch the Dolphins or whatever at some dark sports bar in Lincoln. I'm like, this is kind of fun.
What
actually,
was the one that you guys went to?
I can't remember what it was called. It was.
Do you want to take? Can I do an opinion before I keep giving my opinions early?
Please.
Lincoln has an absolute dearth of sports bars where they actually show sports on the television.
Really?
Yeah,
I never noticed.
It is there's several really good places. Like you have Press Box, you have Sportscasters, you have a couple of these. But if you wanted to go downtown and watch sports somewhere on a Sunday, you weren't going to find there's a lot of places that don't pay for the NFL package that don't even know there's NFL games going on. They just have BTN playing all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's a combo of places that aren't good at managing that sports exist, which happens everywhere.
Yeah, they're just trying to run a bar, man.
Lincoln just doesn't have sports bars. See, I moved to Omaha, and there's just this wealth of places that I can go that aren't chains or aren't whatever.
There are so many. There are so many.
It is one of the things that stood out to me when I first started dating my now wife and would come up to Omaha. It's there's all these places you can just go to watch games. And in Lincoln, I have 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically have to go to those 3 because if I go to the 4th, there's a good chance that Rutgers is going to be playing Maryland in soccer on Sunday morning.
Then you ask them to change the channel.
Well, we can give you the Chiefs game or the Fox game.
What?
Yeah, well, that's if they can figure out how to use the remote, which
that's true. That happens sometimes as well. I think it was Brewski's. I think we would go to Brewski's.
Yeah, and that's that would be the closest from campus if you're there, or if there's
it was over the one over by East Campus, kind of.
Okay, yeah, yep.
I think we would go there. It was sort of separated from. It was great. It was a fun time, and I got to watch Jake freak out about the Dolphins being horrible, and that was
still
good.
horrible. They're still horrible.
Watching NFL, I've gone with Jake to the sports bar to watch my own team while he's watching the Dolphins. It is an experience.
Yeah, I mean,
it is one that I think people should get to experience.
I think he's in a constant state of nothing good will ever happen to me, and then followed by brief spurts of excitement, and then immediately back down to nothing good will ever happen to me.
There's a really popular thing in especially with the NFL, where you have these people who just set up. It's kind of what you and Bishop did. They set up their camera. They stream themselves watching the game.
Booth cam.
Yep. They stream themselves watching the game, and the Packers have a couple people that do this that are really popular. It's like Cheesehead TV or something like that. TV. And so I constantly think if Sorensen did this, he would become a Dolphins sensation for people.
You're actually correct about that.
And it would be, I can understand why.
Next thing you know, he'd be on Barstool
because he's nuts. He's absolutely nuts as this stuff is going on. I love watching sports with him because you never know exactly what you're going to get.
If I don't
you always
care,
know you're going to get something.
If we have the same rooting interest, I'm out. During the Royals run, I'm I got to watch the game by myself.
It's too much anxiety for you.
That's how I get. That's how I
Yeah.
am watching the Packers. I cannot watch it with anybody who doesn't support the Packers.
All right. So anyway, that's how we're waiting till 7:45 to watch the Masters in this studio. By the way, John writes in, he says sports bars that don't show sports are just bars. Yet another reason that Lincoln sucks. It happens everywhere, but yeah, there is.
It's not that they don't have sports, it's just that they leave it on BTN.
I was told
here's lacrosse.
I was told 3.5 weeks ago that something was happening on BTN, and I had to change the channel, and I literally haven't touched it.
So
since.
That's
what happened.
I was in Scotts Bluff for one night going over to Yellowstone, and we went to a sports bar with some family, and I was shocked to see all the TVs having rodeo on the TV. I guess rodeo's real big out in that area.
I'm sure it
Nebraska.
is. I'm sure it is. Shout out to the
Cowboy
rodeo
Channel.
Yeah, were they watching our dear friend Michael Snow?
Maybe. I don't know. It was.
You never know.
They had rodeo on.
You never know
I
who's
haven't
going to show up
checked
on
in
there.
with Snow since yesterday's news. I don't know how he's handling that.
Yeah, that's a great transition. So yeah, our dear friend Michael Snow, one of the many Michael S's.
He might be listening.
who
Snow,
is-
how are you feeling?
Yeah, he said a lot of things during basketball season, and I think this is a good lesson. You know, Nebraska ball is rolling. They're in the Sweet 16, and you're like, this is amazing. This is my life now. Nothing bad will ever happen to me.
No Nebraska basketball
No,
fan
but listen,
has ever
like
said that.
you're thinking about a world where, all right, we're going to get this increased money that's going to come into
Sure.
the program now. Who wouldn't want to? And you're thinking about it, and it all makes sense. It all clicks. Who wouldn't want to play for this coach? Who wouldn't want to play in this system? It develops. It and we win basketball games, and we sell out arenas, and people travel to our games, and like that run that they had over the last couple months was really truly magical, and it was a great season. And so you're thinking, man, we could really parlay this into something. And so you're riding high, and you're thinking, well, I have completely put out outside of my mind the fact that someone who was on this team who has eligibility to come back could potentially leave. And then bang, it happens yesterday, and it doesn't necessarily sit well with
It's
people.
the one that of the three players that is like, well, these guys make up the core of when they come back.
Sanford, Frager, and Berkay.
It's the one that no one
Yep.
outside was projecting like, hey, this could be, a thing. And the first time it was on my radar, and I said this on a podcast yesterday, I think I said it on the show too. Sauter mentioned it off air while sitting in this chair right now on Friday.
Mike S.
Yeah, last week. He's like, hey, they don't have a deal reached with Berkay. Like, I don't know what's going to happen there, and it probably makes the most sense for everybody if he comes back. But just so you know, like, that's not a done deal. I was like, well, that'd be weird. And then it's like, where's he going to go? Like that.
I know, yeah.
That's a
And
general
you just kind of
process.
in one ear and out the other. You're like,
sounds
oh,
like it's going to be Lubbock. So
the money capital of the world, apparently.
that was a big late rumor last night.
Mr. Oil came in, I suppose.
That's why they are the Red Raiders.
I'm thinking of Matt McMaster now. All of your nicknames,
All of your nicknames are just Mr. something. It's not even funny. But yet it is still funny.
in its own way. I like
Mr. Oil came in.
I think your
Interesting.
commitment to it is what makes it great.
Yeah, we have Mr. Desk, Mr. Oil, variety of different things. But I got to be honest with you, and like I said, I don't think it sat particularly well. First and foremost, because of the surprise of it. Right? Like I said, you're riding high, and it's just like, dang, what? Like, how did that happen? And now you got to, figure out how to replace him and do all these different things. And I did see that there's always a group of people who are like, well, hey, he wasn't very good. He lacked athleticism, and he was this and this and this. Whatever, man. In basketball, you don't trade known commodities for unknown commodities. And you should know this from football. You should know this from basketball as well. You don't trade known commodities for unknown commodities, or you'd prefer not to. And Nebraska, unfortunately, is going to have to when it comes to Berkay. So there's this surprise of it. There's that piece of it. And then you actually try to think about, okay, why? And you mentioned the money piece there. I think there's a frustration because of the lack of sense that it makes. Now, I want guys to get their bag and his stock is maybe as high as it's going to be, whatever right now. That doesn't mean we can't look at this decision on from the information that we have and say, what happened here? Like, why does this happen? And it doesn't have to be a big, like, oh, there's no loyalty in college sports. Whatever. If you want to go that direction, you can. I'm just thinking about it from a functional basketball perspective, and I can't make any sense of it. Because his value, as we talked about right off the bat yesterday, I believe is higher at Nebraska than probably it is anywhere else. And he could have parlayed that into something special. Now, if he wants to go out and get double the money from Mr. Oil, then that's his prerogative. But his best chance to be set up for really good basketball this year and a successful, I'm sure they'll have success at Texas A&M or Texas Tech if that's where he ends up. But his best chance to really, I think, have fun, number one, be good, number two, be a heart and soul guy, is right here. He was doing that last year, And so I think that makes it, all that stuff makes it really, really frustrating for people.
Yeah, I mean, did you see his Instagram post?
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
And so, like, you read this thing, and it's, you know, the first comment I saw from somebody on it was, man, Chat GPT is putting in a lot of work these days.
So I immediately checked it. It was like 86%, which I don't know how that even works.
How do you check these things?
You could just run it through a Chat GPT finder or whatever. Like
I didn't know that existed.
you could use Chat GPT to run it through Chat GPT.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
How does it work if someone writes something and then they put it on Chat GPT to make sure that the grammar is correct?
It probably comes out as Chat GPT detected or whatever.
Interesting.
I don't know. I've
You
never
just got-
used AI to write things before.
Yeah,
You
I
just
mean, I've
copy and
definitely
paste the
used
grammar
it.
rule.
I've used it to like make sure that I don't have like a comma in the wrong place
Okay.
or whatever. Like I use it as an editor to fact check stuff.
So
not
he is-
fact check, but
What do you call
grammatically
the
check
double
things.
dash thing?
Just a long dash.
Long dash.
Yeah.
He used a few long
Those are like
dashes.
everyone says that's like the telltale sign of Chat GPT.
He also
Oh.
used a picture of himself from The Crown last year, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, that was a highlight for some
It
people.
was a great moment.
No, so you read this post, and whether it's his words or somebody else's, the sentiment of it, I imagine, rings true regardless. And it's a thing where it's like, why does someone who seemingly loves his experience of 2 years here and it meant this much, and you had that run with this team, why does he feel like he has to go into the portal?
Right.
And then that gets into a sort of a different human psychology conversation, which is, does somebody like that feel like they need to get whatever their perceived value is on the market more than where, their perceived value is in terms of the locker room or anything like that? And so it's, you have to make those judgment calls yourself. And if Berkay, it seems, and from everything that I've asked around or the different people that I've talked to, it's not like there's any sort of bad blood about any of this. It's his representation had a number that they wanted. Nebraska has a number that it wouldn't go past, and they weren't close.
Yeah.
And, Nebraska can't disrupt what it wants to put together.
I just wish there was more, on the scale of transactional to where do I actually want to be, like, as a player, right?
But
Like
that's kind of on him.
I just wish exactly. I just wish it was less transactional and a little bit more. I understand there's always a scale because, like,
Sure.
Mike writes in on the YouTube, he says, I love a lot of things. I also love money, and I get that. You want to, you want to play for the most money you can, and you want to cash in on the fact that your stock is high right now, and you're, this might be your top earning potential of your life right now if you're Berkay Buchton Gel. And if you're leaving money on the table, then yeah, maybe you feel like you're doing a disservice to yourself. But I do wish it was not so heavily tilted toward the transactional side.
And unfortunately, that makes it what's more like professional sports, where you're just kind of, there's a number and there's a value, and that's how you would sort of perceive it. And if you're Berkay, you might feel like you're slighted because your representation is telling you, hey, this is what you're worth on the market, and that number they're showing me is not close. And so that becomes a whole thing in itself. Like, you've heard of players leaving or players professionally leaving. Like, this is a big thing with Kirk Cousins. He didn't want to take less money to stay in Minnesota because he loved everything about Minnesota, but he knows what his value is on the market. And
he's really good at getting money from teams.
No one has been better at this than him. And some of it is, as we talk about in professional sports and now in the portal, your best asset sometimes is simply being available. Now, the crazy thing is, this is at the beginning of a market. So,
could be more left out there, right?
Yeah. Well, if you show up late and you're a position of need for somebody that just has to throw a bunch of money, i.e., you're an offensive tackle and you show up in the middle of the portal versus the beginning of the portal in football, you might just start a landslide And
that's the way I would do it. If I was
might be shy as Pete, and you go from
Yep.
one number and you end up at Kentucky on an entirely different number.
If I was exclusively going into the portal because I wanted a bigger payday, I would wait until the end.
You'll find that a lot of guys whose value is perceived to be in the middle will wait and see how things play out because they're going to be more valuable at the end.
Now there's risk there because spots fill up and
you might end up in a spot or a space that's worse for you. Like you're gambling.
But the gamble is that there's somebody out there that's desperate enough to pay X amount over market value at the tail end because they're desperate.
That's the gamble that was made here. And like I said, the rumor is Texas Tech. We'll see if that's what plays out or wherever he ends up. It's unfortunate. I view it from the Nebraska side of things of like, hey, we can't overcommit here, probably because they're paying a lot to the other two guys, or certainly to one of those two. If they can keep Rager, we'll see. But I feel good about Sanford. The number that's bandied about there is large. Mm-hmm. And again, Nebraska's gone up in terms of resources, but it's still in the lower half, I'm assuming, in power conference basketball.
Yeah.
Because it's going to commit so much to football, and there just doesn't have don't have like a mega donor that's going to come through for basketball in the way that other places.
Yeah, maybe it was a situation where it's like, okay, his representation comes back and says, here's what just happened. Can you, I'd love to stay. Can you match it? And the answer was, I just don't think we can, I'm sorry.
What do you think about it? And it's like, okay, you still want to go get a big, and that big that you want to get before Berkay was leaving, you're probably going to have to pay more than you're going to pay Berkay anyway.
And by the way, keep in mind, Berkay was already one of the more highly paid guys in the roster from when he came in a couple of years ago.
Exactly. And so you've got you just got a lot of things you have to weigh when you do all of this. And that's where, if you're a Nebraska fan, you appreciate what Berkay did. You hope when he comes back to celebrate the 20-year or the 10-year or whatever. Yeah. But what you don't want, or what I don't want, is to ever have him, be like, oh man, I wonder what would have happened if I had stayed. Like that's entirely in his control.
And so I see stuff like this, and I want to get to a couple texts here before we get to Sarah Baker Hansen in a few minutes. Text from the 515 says, well, the dollar amounts we're talking about would be considered generational money by everyone listening to this program right now. And I think that's what it comes down to. So I hear that stuff all the time, and I'm like, hey, and people say, well, you can't blame the athlete because, come on, we're talking about a couple $1 million. Would you turn down a couple $1 million? Like, of course not. Of course I wouldn't. But that doesn't mean that there aren't what I'm saying is that shouldn't be the only thing. Situation and fit and familiarity, that should all matter. And I would think if you guys are out there looking for a job in the open market, that you would think about that too. Even if you are in a situation, which people rarely are in the real world, where there's 5 job offers at once, and one of the job offers is significantly higher from a compensation standpoint than the others, that you wouldn't immediately just sign on the dotted line and say yes to that exclusively because the number is higher. Because as we all know, there's catches with all of them, and there's different factors that go into all of them. So that's all I'm saying. I don't think these decisions, people often say, hey man, you can't blame the guy. And what I'm saying is we need to have a little bit more flexibility here with the way not only the decisions are made, but with also the way we talk about it as well. I think it's fair to criticize what happened here because I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense outside of, all right, the money's there. And if you want to be the type of person who just says, well, the money's there, what are you supposed to do? Fine. But I think it's worth looking at a little bit harder and saying, well, what's he really giving up here compared to what he's getting?
Yeah, I suppose I view it from the lens more, I guess, of the institution, which is there's just has to be a line of what you're comfortable with paying for everything else that you want to do. And so then the ball is ultimately in the court of the player and what they choose to value. And, again, you read the Instagram post from Berkay, and it's like, this reads like someone who's clearly loves where he was at, but it wasn't enough. The entire experience of it wasn't enough. And that should tell everyone, and it's sobering. He went through that entire ride, has an opportunity to come back and be part of its next chapter, and is choosing not to, simply over money. And there's no other way to phrase it. There really
It's
is.
a tough pill to swallow. And I get it. Like that is definitely just the way it is.
Yeah.
And to a certain, extent, we just have to accept that because that's just the way it is. But
And not everybody. So there is the other end of this too. You will have guys that take less money to stay somewhere. I mention this all the time. Bryce Williams for the Crown Championship took so much less money than he would have made on the open market to have that year with Nebraska because he wanted to be part of being on the team that won the first tournament game.
Yep.
That mattered so much to him. And, like people aren't going to think about Bryce Williams in the emotional way that they probably think about Bearcay. But like it mattered to Bryce Williams and Jawan Gary, and it mattered to those guys. It's not to say that you should care more about them than you do Bearcay. It's not what I'm trying to get at. It's just that not everybody thinks about it the same way. But for some people, it simply is going to come down to perceived value and overall money. For other people, it's going to come down to fit, or it's going to come down to like, this is where I want to live, or this is who I want to play for. And
everybody's got different priorities.
This is where you hope that you have a staff that's flexible, adaptable, and has the evaluation chops to find the next person. I don't think it's going to be hard to replace the on-court production of Bearcay.
No, but he's a heart and soul guy.
But it's everything else that came around with it.
Right.
And that's not an easy thing to replace when you're already losing everything else.
On top of the familiarity, which I think is important as well. All right, 402-951-1620. Want to hear from you guys on that. We continue that conversation as we go on throughout the show. Let's take a break. Sarah Baker Hansen's coming up next on 1620 The Zone. Oh, we love talking food here on 1620 The Zone. Many say that 1620 The Zone is the home of bad food opinions. So we have to improve our food opinions. So that's where we bring in Sarah Baker Hansen from the Flatwater Free Press, also the sandwich bracket on sarahbakerhansen.com. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. How are you?
Good to talk to you. Finally, sorry, I think our phones screwed up last week, and
And then I screwed up last
we
week.
got a little we got a little mixed up, but we figured it out.
Little phone tag. That's okay. Never hurt anybody. All right. So yes, you're here to help our food opinions. So we had the sandwich bracket, which
wait
is.
a second though. Before what are your bad food opinions?
I don't know. There's a variety of them. We have some odd people who work here at 1620 The Zone, and I'll give you mine. Here's what people make fun of me for.
Okay.
I don't like it. I don't really like when people make alterations to their orders at restaurants, like a burger, but take off the onions or something. That's just a very, layman's example. But I appreciate the food as it is presented to me by the chef. Do you think that is a bad opinion?
No, I agree with you.
Interesting. And yet I get made fun of all the time.
People like their customization.
I think people do like the ability to customize. However, in my sort of long time line of work, I think you're right. I mean, if there's an ingredient that I don't love on it, I'll still get it because it must be there for a reason, right? So I want to try it. And there are very few things I don't like, so I'm not a big customizer personally. But I think if there's an intent to the dish and it's supposed to be made a certain way in the mind of the person who created it, then let's eat it the way that person wants it to be eaten. So I agree with you. I'll hold on to that bad food opinion too.
Okay, thank you. That makes me feel really good, actually.
So one of the things I've been wanting to ask here, you have this sandwich bracket. I'm fascinated for you. Like, what are the tenets of a really good sandwich? Like, obviously, there's different ingredients or there's different things that make up all the variety of sandwiches that we can have. But there has to be certain things that occur when you're eating a sandwich that just like always need to be there for it to ultimately be a good sandwich. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think one of the things is texture. Like, I like a grilled sandwich, right? So I like crunchy bread or crispy bread or a crispy, crunchy element to a sandwich. So I think, the bracket's over, so there's no secret as to who won anymore, but or no surprise. But I think that texture is a big reason of why the OG chicken sandwich at Dirty Birds won, because if you've ever had that sandwich, it has a lot of textures going on. And I also think it's an interesting one to have won because it's kind of big and messy. And I think people really have come to like a saucy sandwich, a sandwich with like, you see so many sandwiches now that have like house sauces or, like if you think about Nashville hot chicken, or even if you think about a Reuben, like there's kind of a saucy, a little bit messy element to it. And I think the sandwiches that did really well throughout the bracket, think about the Barrett, the Philly at Barrett. It has that kind of interesting texture going on. So I don't know. For me, that's a big thing that I think makes a good sandwich. I think it also kind of, that same idea also can translate to a burger, which of course there are no burgers in the bracket because we already did a burger bracket. But that's kind of my thoughts about it. And I think that is one reason why a crispy chicken sandwich won.
I was going through the bracket and I was sort of thinking, all these really, really popular, but like grassroots popular places in Omaha, they've been staples around for a long time. How hard is it to have a hidden gem in it feels like once the word gets out quick, and then it becomes a staple as far as either a restaurant or even a specific menu item in this town.
Yeah. I think if you look back to the very, round one of the bracket, I think there are a couple of hidden gems on there. I'm looking at it right now. They didn't all win, of course. They can't all win. But I would say one that won in the deli sandwich category is the mortadella sandwich at Dolomiti. The pizza, mostly known for pizza or whatever. But that mortadella sandwich at Dolomiti is amazing. It is so good. I think the memoir, their Wagyu memoir French dip, that is sort of a sandwich that I haven't heard very many people talk about, but it won a couple of rounds and then it got taken down by a short rib grilled cheese, which those words go together. that makes
I
sense.
am interested.
But, I think there are a lot. I think when you look at everything on here, you're like, well, I wonder what that sandwich is. And I always try to put kind of one sandwich or whatever it is in the bracket. We've done 5 of these now. That's kind of one of my personal favorites. And I would say the one I put on the list this year that nobody mentioned or voted for, but I got a lot of messages about when I did put it in there, is the hot grill at La Bouvette. That is one of the first things. I've been going to La Bouvette for 20 years or whatever. I remember when I first went there that I didn't know what a lot of things were on the menu. It was long before I ever wrote a word about food, but that seems like a good order, like a hot grilled ham sandwich with pickles and melted cheese. Sure, I'll take it. And I thought, that needs to be on this bracket. So it made it 3 rounds, which I was really surprised. So I must not be the only hot grill lover out there.
Nice.
I want to ask you about Reubens. I feel like, is this largely a Nebraska thing? I feel like you don't see Reubens on menus as much elsewhere. You're a culinary traveler. You probably would have picked up on this as well. Like, what has made this such like a Nebraska staple? It's all over the menu. You wrote about it. I think you had a review where you were writing about the Reuben.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why has that become such a thing? I feel like, especially here in Omaha, as a recent transplant. I feel you see it on menus at all of these places. I know it. It kind of got its start here, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
But
I think that's why people love the sort of history and the story of the Reuben. That it was there's a rival story that says it was invented in New York, but I've researched that story, and that Reuben supposedly was made with turkey. And in my mind, that ain't a Reuben.
That's right.
So I think we in Omaha can hold on to the tale of the Reuben being invented at the Blackstone Hotel here in Omaha. And so, we couldn't do a sandwich bracket in Omaha without a Reuben category. And I have to tell you that, to narrow it down to 8 Reubens in Omaha is really hard, because there are a lot of other Reubens that you can suggest, because it's made, so many places have it. I think the ones that are the best known are the 2 that moved furthest in the category, the Cottonwood Hotel and, of course, the Crescent Moon. And if you haven't had the Cottonwood Hotel's Blackstone Reuben, that is my personal favorite in the city. It's so good. They take a little bit of creative liberty with it, which I appreciate. They are at the spot where it was supposedly invented. But a lot of those other Reubens on the list, the ones I wrote about, Patty McGowan's, Sean O'Casey's, people really like the Reuben at Finicky Frank's. I got a few emails from chefs around Omaha who were pretty crushed that it was a 7 seed, that they thought I had done it dirty. There's always somebody who doesn't like my seeding, but yeah. So I think that's why, and I do think you're right. There are a lot of Reubens in Omaha. There aren't enough to do a whole bracket, but you could probably do a half-size bracket in Omaha just of Reubens.
What do we have coming up here? We're a few weeks away from the big Berkshire meeting. Like there's kind of a lot of stuff on the horizon here. What's coming up at SarahBakerHanson.com?
Yeah, well, I've got a new review that's coming out next Thursday in Flatwater Free Press. I can't tell you what it is quite yet, but I'm excited about it. It's a new spot in town, and ahead of Berkshire, look out the window today. It looks like it's going to be a pretty gorgeous day to go find a patio somewhere in Omaha to sit on. patio season is one of my faves. I almost always write something about it in the spring and what are the new patios. In fact, I went to an event last week and I saw a patio that I have never sat on, and now I can't stop thinking about how I want to go sit on it. So I'll probably be writing a story about that. And just I just finished the bracket, so time to get back to the reviews, and it was very fun. I wrote a story also during the bracket about the Euro shops in Lincoln.
Yes.
So I've been getting a lot of emails and conversation about that. So yeah, it's going to be a busy spring.
Tremendous. All right. Well, we can't wait to talk again. I'm sure there'll be a whole nother. Well, we'll come with you again. We'll come to you again with more bad 1620 food takes next time we
I can't
talk.
wait. Hopefully I agree with all of them, and then you can say you're the station of good food takes.
Exactly. Well, keep in mind we do employ a person who didn't eat a cheeseburger until he was like 21, I believe.
Didn't have mashed potatoes until his 20s.
You grow up and you learn what's good. So it sounds like that person came around.
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Yeah, talk soon. Bye.
Sarah Baker Hansen, sarahbakerhansen.com, Flatwater Free Press. Check out the reviews there. The sandwich bracket is indeed complete at this
So
point.
hungry now. Like,
I
this is
know.
unfair.
I love talking about food.
I was thinking about the banh mi. Like, that's such a great place. I was
Place.
clowning Lincoln Sports Bar. Good. Just get the banh mi sandwich and watch sports on your phone.
I am soon. I will soon be upon my annual visit to the committee chop house, which I'm very, very excited about. Which I think, we usually do this because we go for our anniversary, and it sometimes falls on Berkshire weekend. We got a reservation, fortunately enough, and so we'll be in there spending an absurd amount of money and eating an absurd amount of food in just a couple weeks.
But it'll be great.
I'm already excited for. Oh, it'll be great. All right.
That's one of those things, like the treat yourself meal. Like, food can be expensive. It's hard to justify it sometimes, but if you do it just like every now and
then, go for it.
It's worth it.
Absolutely.
It is really worth it.
Joey's got the headlines when we come back on 1620 The Zone. I got a few minutes here. Thanks to Sarah Baker Hansen for joining us. Talk about food, getting everybody hungry on a Thursday morning. Joey, we got headlines. What do we have this morning?
Yes, we do. The first headline over in Canada: car shell suspended on rock face above British Columbia highway in apparent prank.
Car shell suspended on rock face. Okay. All right.
A lot happening.
Yep, a lot going on. Headline 2.
Ostrich on the loose runs along Chonburi motorway.
I don't know what
Okay.
that is. I know what the ostrich is.
I think we're going to the prank here, right?
Yeah, it's the prank, but do we know where Chonburi motorway is?
We do not.
It's in an Asian country.
Okay.
Let's go to the Associated Press. Car shell suspended on rock face above British Columbia highway in apparent prank. Okay, so just looking at the photo here, it's like it really is a shell of a car. It's not. It doesn't even really resemble a car, except for in the shell of it. But looks interesting.
It's got a maple leaf.
Authorities in British Columbia urge people to stay away from a rock face above a highway in the Canadian province where a red Volkswagen Beetle shell was suspended in an apparent prank by engineering students. BC Parks is working to remove the Beetle and expects to do so within the week. Oh, no fun. You know, I love beauty and everything, but this is kind of fun. This is like if I'm
I guess
driving
they
by.
view it as a liability.
Yeah, probably a distraction. for
Everything
drivers.
is viewed through the eyes of insurance.
Said the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and Park Rangers have been asked to investigate. The car shell appeared on the rock face above Highway 99 in Squamish last week with a large E on its roof, indicating the University of British Columbia engineering students were carrying on a tradition of placing beetle shells in difficult locations.
I love this.
That's great.
I like this.
In 2009, a beetle fell from the Iron Workers Memorial Bridge, and Vancouver police arrested 5 students in a failed attempt to suspend it from the span. A spokesperson from the university did not immediately return a message seeking comment. Squamish Mayor Armand Hurford said the area around the Squamish Chief Rock Formation is a, quote, sacred place with deep cultural meaning to Squamish Nation. He said the area is also popular among hikers and climbers, and what may have felt like an innocent prank has affected the community. Quote, this is an area that deserves respect, and that was not the case here, Hereford said in a statement. How about the damn kids having no respect, just putting beetle shells wherever they go? What a great bit, though, the ongoing prank of several years of this engineering group, just putting beetle shells in places where they don't belong.
I weirdly want to know more about the photographer who got some of these shots.
Yeah, this
like
is
you
good.
go
The
through these,
process of
there's
getting it up there.
a bit of a slideshow. There's about 5 photos, so you can click through it. The third one is sort of an aerial view that drops down onto it.
It's a good several hundred feet
Yeah.
above the highway here.
I'm guessing it's through a helicopter, and they got.
Well, it looks like
Oh.
it is suspended.
Yeah.
Like it is.
It's
it
definitely
is-
suspended.
so on the top of the rock wall, they just hung the beetle off the side.
Look at the third photo though, if you can get to it.
I can. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
This is cool. I don't obviously, if the place has sentimental value and meaning and it's a historic,
There's a lot that we
preserve.
don't know from the cultural
Right.
aspect of it that we admit ignorance on. We still think it's cool.
But it's a cool. It's like a wink, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're driving by, it's like, oh, that's unique. That's
I mean,
fun.
I love the idea of just random every year a beetle is in a different place.
I also love the idea of this engineering group just pulling pranks just as a
Sure.
tradition, putting this beetle shell wherever it can go.
They can do pranks. Anthony Davis cannot.
I still don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what commercial that is.
Someday you'll learn.
I've never seen it. I don't see commercials.
You don't see.
It's this weird thing that I have. I'm not
I have an
sure.
I saw a
opinion.
commercial yesterday on ESPN.
What commercial?
Whatever show he's taking.
Oh,
part
the
in.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
I thought you
Yeah.
said you saw a commercial. I'm like, what?
I
It's
saw
on
I-
ESPN. They're doing
I think it was on ESPN.
ESPN
I don't know.
advertising
I don't know.
for TBS.
I just remember seeing it yesterday. Well, ESPN TNT partner up with the college football playoff.
Yeah, they're
That's
partnered
true.
up in weird ways that Charles Barkley does not like.
They get
That's for sure.
sub-licensed out a lot to do a variety
terrible.
a variety of random things. I'll let you know when I comprehend that commercial for the very first time. I will. I'll
Do
send
you want
you
me
a
to just
text.
send it to you?
It's like the
No.
foul that's supposedly not a foul.
I want to see it in the wild.
That's how I feel about the foul.
Never seen it. Didn't
Never
know
seen
it.
it.
Doesn't look like anything to me.
Still think of Book of Mormon when I think of that game.
All right. Those are the headlines, courtesy of our dear friend Joey. When we return, you have opinions? Send them in 402-951-1620. It is time for I Have an Opinion. Coming up next on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. All right, it's time. 8:00 Thursday. I have an opinion. Here's how it works. It's a very complicated game, so listen closely. If you have an opinion, which you may or may not, who knows, but you guys know what opinions are. They are positions that you hold. Opinions, send them our way, 402-951-1620. You can text them in. You can tweet at us on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. I'm monitoring at Schaefer, as is Joey as well. And leave a comment on our YouTube. Send those in. Just opinions that you might have. We'll read them and react to them. And by the way, if you do so, and it is deemed by the law, Joey Colbert today.
The law.
Yes. If it is deemed by Joey Colbert that your opinion is worthy, then you will be honored with tickets to the Supernovas game.
A 4-pack of tickets to this Sunday's game
A 4-pack
against Dallas.
Against Dallas on Sunday. So send those in, 402-951-1620. I know Schaefer has opinions too. This is a good time to get out your opinions as well. Let's start with Pedro. He writes in, he says, "Hi guys, I have an opinion. There should be a national lottery drawing on April 15th for anyone that pays federal taxes. The payout would be $1 million, tax-free. There would be 50 winners, one from each state. This would make paying taxes easier. We would know where our money went to."
I mean, I love everything about this. It would make people excited.
Yeah,
Like, if
as
you're
I pay my
automatically-
taxes, I'm drawing into the lottery.
Now, I do think you can't have it on April 15th. The only people that should be in this drawing are ones that actually pay their taxes. So therefore, once their taxes are submitted, they become eligible for the drawing.
I agree.
So maybe you can't have it on April 15th, but like,
Well, that's when you do the drawing, right? Like, because you know that everybody will have submitted by then.
well,
right?
some people get
Yeah, that's
extensions,
tax day.
whatever. If you get an extension, you're out for the lottery.
I agree.
But I just think like you would need the check mark to come through at a certain time on April 15th to then do the drawing after the fact, if that makes sense.
I agree. I see what you're saying.
And then it would be a matter of like extreme security to figure out how this would work, though, because if
We
people
don't want any
figured out-
money going to the wrong place.
Well, yeah, if people figured out how to game the Monopoly game from McDonald's, they'll figure out how to game the IRS.
did you ever see that movie with Bryan Cranston where he tries to game the lottery?
Oh yeah, something in Margot.
Margin large and
Go large or whatever.
yeah.
Something in not Margot. Something in Marge Go Large. Hal and Marge Go Large. or
Yes,
something like that.
I McMastered that movie.
I watched the movie.
I spark noticed it. I have basically seen so many clips that I know kind of what's going on. I don't know how it ends though. They never show you the ending in the clips.
I have watched. Now that you say this, I feel like I watch a lot of Bryan Cranston movies, and none of them are like major productions. So
Nope.
it's like I go out of my way to watch them.
He seemingly made some choices after Breaking Bad, because this is an opinion. Like, he could have had, it feels like, whatever kind of career he wanted after he was Walter White. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not. I mean, he was Walter White, right? And it was an all-time character. But after he was Walter White, I was stunned. He was, like you said, Schaefer, he was in all these like low budget, low
Independent
quality,
films for the most
independent
part.
type of films. Like, I felt like he could have had, an Oscar type of career after that, but it didn't happen at all. It was the opposite.
Well, I think he doesn't end up in something like Breaking Bad if he follows any sort of traditional path when picking.
That's true.
I think he's someone who, if it interests him, he wants to do. And then once he became a certain level of famous, it's like he's sort of picking his own pet projects, which is how he's in a movie about the screenwriter Trumbo, or he's an FDA agent in The Infiltrator or whatever.
Yeah.
All of which I've seen because Bryan Cranston's in it and he's awesome.
I love Bryan Cranston. I've never seen these movies because they're so
Right.
unpopular. I only watch popular movies, except for The Terminal.
Meanwhile, these are all movies I've watched on airplanes, by the way. It's
Sure.
like I just go to my Bryan Cranston collection when I'm sitting in row 23.
There's a good poll question. Have you ever watched a Bryan Cranston movie on an airplane?
I'm trying to but then some of the television shows, like Your Honor was pretty interesting until it wasn't. You ever watch that?
Nope.
He's a federal judge and his son is involved in a hit and run and
Oh.
he's trying to do everything to protect
You know another Bryan Cranston movie I've seen clips of, I McMastered as well. So I don't even know what this is called. He is like a former military guy, and Steve Carell is in there. But I believe Steve Carell's son has died in the movie, and they go around, and Kevin Bacon is in there. They go around and they're
Last flag flying.
thank you. I'm sure that's
okay.
it. Yeah, that like someone has.
Yeah, I never watched that.
Someone has died tragically. I see clips of this all the time, and
Yeah, it's that movie.
I kind of want to watch it, but instead I've only McMastered it.
Did you see The Upside with him and Kevin Hart?
No.
I'm pretty sure that. Yeah, it's him and Kevin Hart. A comedic look at the relationship between a wealthy man with quadriplegia and an unemployed man with a criminal record who's hired to help him.
Such odd
Honestly, the
choices.
answer to your question, Connor, I actually did watch a Bryan Cranston movie on the airplane. That was the one with James Franco.
He's a go-to airplane guy.
I didn't realize that. That was one of the 4 movies I watched on my flight from Honolulu to Minneapolis.
Shout out to Cranston. Shout out to Bryan.
Thank you, Bryan Cranston.
Here's a text from the 531. I have an opinion. This show is 3 nerds who. Oh, well, okay. All right. I'm going to leave out the last part because it's very.
Yeah.
This is not good. But basically, this person is making fun of us
Okay.
for being nerds.
Okay.
I have an opinion, says texter from the 531. You all suck. That's basically what this person said.
All right. Are we putting them up for the prize pack?
Yes. Send him tickets. Seriously. you should text it. Just see what happens. Text this number afterwards. You have it, Joey.
Yeah.
Text this number afterwards and said, would you like Supernova's tickets? Thank you for listening.
Thanks for being a dedicated listener.
We appreciate it. Here's John on the text line. I have an opinion. Husker FB can suck it. Give me more Nebraska ball portal talk. Hashtag basketball is better than football. That is interesting.
Do you have an opinion that dovetails into this a little bit that we didn't get into in the 7 a.m.
The one
hour?
that is hashtag basketball is better than football.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Well, I've already said that opinion previously, but yes, I had
the portal.
the
aspect
topic
of it.
today. Yeah, the basketball portal is very fun. Is very fun to follow. There's a lot of different things going on in it. You have the added layer of the basketball burner community, which is just absurd. Nobody knows what's real and what's not real. You have all these people claiming that they're poor, claiming that they're rich, claiming that the transfer that they get is going to be the best transfer of all time or the worst transfer of all time. It's great. And none of it is real. The only thing that's real is you create a roster, and then when you get that roster and they all show up in the middle of the summer at some point, then you finally figure out what kind of team you have. No one can predict it.
That's also another element of this where I saw this yesterday. Like, oh no Rink Mass, no Lawrence. Like, where's the leadership going to come from? No Berica. And it's well, you have some time to kind of figure this out. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly what it's going to be.
That's right.
January and February of the following year, right away on October or November, whenever you're starting the season.
Mm-hmm.
You do get a little bit of time.
You do.
Also, Nebraska is not aggressive in their non-conference scheduling. So it's not like you're going to just show up and immediately be playing top 15 teams right away.
And if you are aggressive with your non-conference scheduling, like some teams are, you can lose some of those games, and it's really okay. You just can't lose all of those games.
There has to be a balance.
You have to win some of them. Here's Ryan in Delaware. I have an opinion. People who get jobs after retirement because they're bored are the most annoying people in the world. You're bored because you're a boring person, and you're taking a job opportunity from someone who actually needs one. Go take a nap. Wow. Ryan in Delaware mad at old people.
Wow.
What do you mean taking jobs? Like, oftentimes the people, the retirees who are like, the first thing that I think of retirees taking jobs are like ushers at stadium events.
Sure.
I work with many of them all the time. And oftentimes those jobs are really hard to fill. It's not like they're beating out 16-year-olds for the job, you know? I'm so impressed by those people, the elderly people's ability to just sit in silence without movement for several hours on end. I am in awe of it. on a daily basis.
Do you think it's because their generation? I'm stereotyping older people, but do you think it's because their generation largely had a lot of that?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't
you
know what
now,
prepared them
like,
for this.
Kids are up and running around, television's on, and it's all ADHD and all of these things. But there was an era where you just sat silently all the time.
So
you didn't speak unless you were spoken to.
I love Coach Buda and Sandy Buda, who's the coach at UNO football forever. Awesome guy. He had a great story during the College World Series last year. So he's the guy who sits at the top of the elevator at the Chuck Box during Creighton baseball season. What kind of security do you need? Really none whatsoever. He also sits near the locker room for Creighton basketball games. And he sits there and he reads his books. He doesn't mind that he's not watching the action. He just sits there.
That's the thing about it.
He greets everyone who walks by. He says, "How's the family and everything?" And I just got back from my trip to Arizona. Like I'd love to catch up with him, but he just sits there the whole time, and I'm constantly impressed.
Seems like a fun job just to be the elevator attendant, just sit there helping people move from floor to floor.
I could not be an elevator
The
attendant.
College World Series has some famous. I mean, Ike and Henrietta, who man the elevators that this America's slowest elevators at Charles Schwab Field during the College World Series.
Now that would be there's some competition.
So there's a story there, and I don't know if anybody's done the story. But here's a free one for the local news people for June. So Ike and Henrietta are married, as they have been for a very, very long time. They each run one of the dual elevators during the College World Series during the summer. And I'm sure someone's done something on them over the years. The best people, and yet they're the happiest people. It gets really stressful at times with those elevators because people are like, it's jacked full, and yet they're calm and they keep their composure. They do a great job. Shout out to Ike and Henry.
Yeah, when I think of people taking like jobs after they've retired, it's stuff like they're shuttle drivers, at car places or at hospitals
or college campuses.
They're delivery drive, like they're doing sort of the jobs that people aren't necessarily applying for, or almost entirely exist to give someone that's a little bit older and needs a little slower speed something to do.
They're not taking jobs away from the young and the spry. They're not.
I agree. I don't think the young and the spry want them.
With that being said, I did. So when Pinnacle Bank Arena opened up and I was in school, I was an usher. I was one of the green shirt people at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was great. So on opening night of Nebraska ball, when they played Florida Golf Course, I was in the tunnel.
Oh, you weren't the security for Tommy Lee or whatever?
No, that was funny. They had the band up there in the upstairs. That was a wild night. And I always see the panoramic picture of opening night at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and I can always pick myself out because I'm wearing the green shirt, the fluorescent green shirt.
I was there that night. Do you remember who made the first shot in Pinnacle Bank history?
Probably like David Rivers.
No. Who's a banked-in three-pointer from Turan Petaway.
Oh, nice. I don't remember that.
Yeah. First shot.
They made the NCAA tournament then.
They made the NCAA tournament.
A magical, magical run. All right, text from the 402. Wow, a lot of takes about 1620 The Zone. I have an opinion. This is the only show I listen to on 1620. That sounds more like a fact. We would like to change that fact. I would invite you to listen to all the shows.
We're on from 6A to 6P.
You will find that once you're a part of the 1620 The Zone 6A to 6P listener club, you will find your experience of listening to The Zone more gratifying because we make fun of each other constantly.
That is true.
Exactly. So change that opinion. Texture from the 402. Now we have this from Aaron. I have an opinion that the United States and phones, I get the funny element of me texting this to you. The United States and phones has made it too damn easy for work to be able to get a hold of you. It's allowed jobs and bosses to feel comfortable to contact you at all times and open with, "Sorry for contacting you this weekend." Okay, then don't, you asses. That's what Aaron says. Interesting.
The way that I have combated this in the past is I don't love having my work email on my phone It allows me some plausible deniability of being constantly available. And my general feeling is if you need me enough, you will call or get a hold of my actual phone.
Yeah, like sometimes I truly don't see, like, I have my email set where it doesn't refresh unless I open the actual app. Like, so I don't get notifications when I get emails, because if I did, I would drive myself insane.
Yeah, you get hundreds of emails.
And like you said, like, you know, if it's an email, it's more than likely I'll be able to get to it at some point during the day. And if it's super urgent, just text me or just call me.
That is basically how I operate.
And that's okay.
If I be needed in a moment's notice, I answer my phone.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That I'm willing to live with that. I understand that could be like, you want the balance and the separation and all those things. I think in our jobs, you just don't get that no matter what. So
there's a trade-off that we do get that you put up with being available all the time.
Right.
And I'll take the trade given the now 15 years of largely working in the industry.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of freedom that we get that is very, very nice. Texter from the 402 writes in, I have an opinion. The retirement job lineup: cut grass at a golf course during the spring/summer, tractor driver at Vala's pumpkin patch in the fall, and usher at the CHI during the winter.
Look at that.
How about this? Driving the Zamboni for the hockey games.
Oh, good one. Now that's a skill.
That seems skilled.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
But if you get the training and all that, then you could.
I don't know if I want training for a retirement job. I'm going to be honest.
I don't know.
Have you thought about, like, if you had a retirement job, what you'd want it to be?
I haven't.
In large part because if you're like me and we're of the age where I just don't know if we're ever going to retire.
Work at a golf course.
That seems to be like what people say, but then it's like, wouldn't you rather just be playing?
Definitely.
You're at the golf course. It would be tough for me to just not want to play.
Like maybe if I was a starter at the golf course, you know, you go out there and you say, all right, you can go now. Or you plug the holes or whatever in the morning. And
oh, you want to be a marshal?
Yeah.
You drive around in the cart and tell people to speed it up a little bit?
Sure. Riding around a golf cart all day? That doesn't sound so bad.
Oh my God. You could be the decorum guy.
Yes.
You
put your shirt back on and turn your speaker down with all that rap music.
You get your phone out and you have the decibels playing. You're like, you are too loud, sir.
Nobody wants to hear Florida Georgia line that loud. Person in the cart. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I've now thought about it for the first time, and that's my first answer. All right. Text from John. Another opinion about 1620 The Zone. I'm not going to read that opinion. Guys, listen to the 1620 The Zone shows. They're all very good. From the 402, I have an opinion. Social media has ruined society. Random sports tweets, okay. Airing every aspect of your life all the time. No one cares, you narcissist.
Yeah, I think there's an element of social media that's just become people's diary. There's certainly that.
Yep.
That's not even the most annoying aspect of social media for me right now. Like that's so yesterday, for example, the Royals pitcher Cole Reagans goes out of the game early. Mm-hmm. I'm not able to watch. There's no information in what I'm looking at on a Gamecast or whatever. And the radio that broadcast that I jumped into late hasn't gone back to it.
So you're checking Twitter to
find out. So I go check
out.
Twitter, and all of it is just people mad about their DFS or their picks or their gambling.
Good one.
And
not everything's about you.
I have gone almost the other way with gambling and fantasy than where I was in the other portion of my life, where it's like, man,
I think we'd be better off that way as a society. Yeah.
Here's what happened. You chose to put your money into something and then bad luck struck. You don't get a refund. You don't get to ask for your money back because someone got hit by a baseball because they started the actual game. That's all you were guaranteed. They were going to be the starter. And even that you're not guaranteed.
So that content is so popular, and that's what I can't figure out. Like, I get if you want to make social media be this outlet to just like blow off steam. Sure. Great, whatever. I lost bets. Here you go. But people consume the crap out of that. They love it. They will watch people sit around and lose bets all day long. And I'm like, what? This is not that entertaining. I don't know, but it is to some people. By the way, Stacy writes in at Happer, my dad is a retired man who's a marshal at Eagle Hills. He absolutely loves it. It is the best job for him, and he gets free golf. Oh, sounds like a pretty good idea. Matt McMaster writes in, I have an opinion. Zamboni driving is not a skill. It's an art.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Blue Jay
Now, is
Norbit
art
fan.
skillless? Should we ask Matt if that's the conversation here?
Could get really deep and introspective.
That's a good crossover topic.
Blue Jay Norbit fan. I have an opinion. Norbit is the greatest comedy movie ever made. I continue to love this bit. Keep sending it. It's great. From the 402, I have an opinion. I am not working after retiring.
Yeah,
I hope that you can.
There's definitely people that choose to go that route. Should there be able to?
Here's Wes. I have an opinion. People need to go check out a Union Omaha soccer game now that they're playing at Morrison Stadium.
Okay. I've not been to a Union soccer game.
I've
Maybe
been
it is
to
me
go.
that Wes is talking about.
Go check out the Boo-House downtown and just a tremendous backdrop of a soccer stadium in Morrison Stadium
Okay.
with a brand new skyline, an edited skyline.
A skyline.
Look at it. I mean, the Mutual of Omaha Tower is.
That is true.
It's
There's
almost
the big
done.
tower.
Let's see here. Pedro. Hi guys. This is great. This is a great I Have an Opinion show. Phones, retirement, taxes, jobs. You guys are helping the masses. Thank you, Pedro.
I have a Pedro opinion. He seems exceedingly pleasant every time it's hi guys.
I
It's
think
the way
so
you read
funny.
it and everything, but I think Pedro's a pleasant person. I've never
very
met him.
polite.
I have met him, and he is a pleasant person.
Okay. I would like to meet Pedro.
Okay,
That's
Pedro.
on my list of people I want to meet. Pedro
You-
and Alex Sindelar.
You. They are both great.
That's what I hear.
I can tell you.
I think we're at the point where I haven't met Sindelar, and I'm just going to keep talking about meeting him and then never actually meeting him.
It's a good
And
bit.
that's going to be the thing that happens.
Text from the 402. Connor was a hall monitor in middle school. ... Loser.
Were you?
Well, I kind of wanted to be, but I don't think I ever was. Like
Do
I
you strike me as someone that would sign up to be part of the crossing guard?
did
or-
love doing safety patrol. I think I was safety patrol captain in 5th or 6th grade.
that.
That was a fifth
tracks
grade thing.
in so many ways to me.
I really wanted to be the captain.
Like that, I totally get it.
I remember
totally
being
get it.
I remember being in safety patrol and returning back to school to see my bike was stolen.
No.
Like I could see you really wanting to be part of like junior fire patrol, like maybe the leader of that too. I could see these being things that you would care about.
What was the fire? What?
Junior fire patrol, is that a thing that
I don't
you did
know
here?
about junior fire
I don't-
patrol.
That was like a
recall.
thing in Columbus for sure. You learned about fire safety and all of that stuff.
No, I never. There was never a,
I thought
a
that was just
squadron
Boy
for that.
Scouts.
No. Also, from that same texter, Connor tells the parents where his kids are planning a party in high school. ... Loser.
You're a narc.
No, I'm not.
Okay, I
Just
don't
because
think,
I like safety patrol doesn't mean I tell everybody where the party's at.
I would draw a line between thinking that you definitely would be a crossing guard, but that doesn't make me think that you would be a narc.
Yeah.
I don't think Connor's a narc.
If I was such a loser, would they really tell me where all the parties were? Probably not. So I wouldn't even have the opportunity to tell everyone where the
They would
party
even
was.
tell you where the fake party is.
Maybe I was invited to a party once. No, well, I don't know. I guess that's up to
you're a
people.
narc.
Well, yeah, I wasn't a narc. I may have been a loser, but I didn't really care. Get off. But I don't know, those are some opinions that people have. Aaron says art is something you continue to refine and work on. It's a skill you have to continue to craft, but one that you often do better under the influence. Not sure driving a Zamboni applies in that case.
Does crafting a schedule applies to this?
I would say that is an art.
It is an art.
It's an art. You'd also have to be able to follow a very strict set of rules to get it all to
It
line
does. It does.
It's a skillful art. That same texter who kept calling me a loser says Connor is Dwight Schrute.
up. Gee.
I kind of like Dwight.
I was gonna say he's a relatively popular person in that show.
Yeah, he put people through the fire the fire safety drill. Today, fire is going to save lives. What does he say?
Something like that.
I thought about that.
Let's see. Here's an email from TL3. This stems from something Sauter said while Connor was away. Maybe Schaefer can help, but it's something like Creighton has to get away from the stat stuffers, volume guys from losing teams.
Yeah, that's a big solder thing.
Okay.
He thinks there's like just a level of portal guys that are, come from programs where they can put up numbers, but those programs don't win. So you want to avoid.
I mean,
that.
it's definitely true that Creighton had some guys last year that were on programs who didn't win, but like, I mean, Josh Dix wasn't like a stat sheet stuffer.
I
for
don't
the
think
hell
that's
of
who
it.
he was referring
Okay.
to out of that
All right.
group.
Well, Austin Swartz didn't have any stats. Blake Harper was probably the closest answer to
That might
that
have been
guy.
who he was going with.
Well, okay, he's gone.
Yeah, or it could have been Graves, but I'm pretty
Wish
sure
granted. Yeah, Graves. I mean, Graves had to be a high volume guy at Charlotte last year because he was
Some
the
of
only
that's tough
player.
though, because you can be a stat stuffer at a bad program and still end up being a good player. Like, it's not like it's not an exact science.
Yeah.
Like what was the
Some guys fit into the system really, really well when they come into.
What was Northern Colorado's record when the guy that was there that went to Tennessee, Dalton Connect?
Yeah,
they probably weren't great.
I have no idea. I have no idea how good
he was. Very good at Tennessee.
Turned out to be pretty good. Yeah. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Brian Christopherson, thanks for playing. I have an opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate it, and be on the lookout. Especially a guy who really hates our show for a text to win Supernovas tickets. We're back after this with BC on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
As always, we have a leftover opinion here, and so this is a perfect opportunity to bounce it off of Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. So this one comes from Ian. I have an opinion. Old Bay is a very good spice. There are many things to enjoy about it, but I would say the way it tastes is the best. what do you, Brian Christopherson joins us now.
I really like the can that it's in.
BC, what do you think about Old Bay? Do you use it in your home?
Have never used it. No.
Wow. That
Nope.
seems like a big upset. You seem like someone that would have liked just Old Bay. Like you like Old Bay chips. If you're ever out in Baltimore, you've been out to DC, they use Old Bay on everything out there.
I was out there with you. You were showing me the sites. I remember it well.
I failed them. I didn't get them Old Bay.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, you did. You did. I could make this segment better if you had led me down that path. But I just have no experience with it. It's one of those things. No, I don't.
And it's tough too because they have the giant like tubs of it at the like Costco or whatever. That's what I have right now, and it's tough to dip your toe in the water of Old Bay. You're either going for it or you're not. Otherwise, you're going to sit there with another can of seasoning that you don't use at your house.
If I remember, if I'm at a Nebraska football game in the fall, I'm just going to show up to the press box and just leave a thing of Old Bay.
Yeah, if somebody threw you a canister of Old Bay at a Nebraska football game, would you accept that gift?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I would definitely. That'd be a nice gesture, Schaefer. It would. I don't know that it would top like the USB cord you gave me the other day, or like a couple weeks ago.
Happer got one of those too.
Yeah,
been handing those things out. I still have like 5 more.
It was a random but actually very useful gift it has turned out for me. But so maybe Old Bay will be one of those where at first I'm like, I don't know about this, and then it just changes my life, but on a dime.
You never know. You never know when life can change. Life comes at you fast as well. If you're Nebraska basketball in the portal yesterday, I mean, it's how surprising to you was the Berke Buchton gel news?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was. I thought he was gonna stand pat. Like after it came out, obviously, whenever there's financials involved, you always open the idea that about anything can happen. And that's sort of what I think we've all learned the last few years is there's almost nothing that can pop up, almost nothing, where you're just like, it just like completely knocks you off your chair. It might take you like 30 seconds, a minute, like to process it, but then you're like, okay, it's the portal. That figures. The only thing though I'd say is, I probably get swayed too much by this, guys, but like in the post game locker rooms, like after the games in March, you get those, they have the extended period where it's like open for 30 minutes and you sit around a guy for 5 to 10 minutes and emotions are raw. And right after that loss to Iowa, Berke is like, we're never losing to these guys again, and, there was sort of a determination from him. He was one of the guys, especially about next year. And so that was kind of just in my head the last few weeks as sort of like, yeah, he's coming back. And obviously he got it seems like a pretty big offer. And I think from what I gather, Nebraska probably had to do what they had to do and stand pat there.
Is it going to be weird whenever we get to the alumni weekend someday? And basically, if you spent like one season with the team, you're an alumni. And so, like Berke is going to go finish his career somewhere else, but he's going to be regarded and remembered for what he did with that team and everything else. But there's just going to be this whole host of like one-off 1-year alumni. And they didn't even necessarily have to finish their career at Nebraska.
Yeah, you're leading me down an old guy take because I get it. Like if, let's say a guy can double his salary and make almost like $2 million or whatever it ends up being. You get that on the surface, but this is old guy talk. But I do miss guys like being at one school for, at least the last 2 or 3 years, and then they kind of are part of that community forever. There's like something to be said for it that's sort of getting lost. And in some cases, I don't think guys factor that in. Sometimes the money's so significant why I understand why you move on. But there's other times where I don't think guys in the portal, and I'm not speaking about Burke particular here, but they don't consider like the long-term effects of like what it would mean to stay at one program, how you will always have a piece of that community's hearts, and it'll help you with jobs and all that stuff in the future. I do still think that counts for something. We just don't see it as much anymore in this climate. And it's disappointing. It is, where guys just show up for 1 year. And the thing Burke will have, though, of course, is, he was on that team that will always, get paraded out at half times. And he had such a personality that he sort of left his mark in the bloody lip game and all that. So I think over time he'll be, well received as a Husker, but it in the moment, It's kind of a tough deal.
Time can heal a lot. I recently saw P. Allen Stinnett at a Creighton game, and I never thought that I would see that again, even though it's 15 years later. So it could change in a hurry. BC, let's transition over to football a little bit here. You wrote about the running backs, and specifically about Isaiah Mosey coming out of spring. Now that we've seen at least a glimpse of what it could look like, at least with the personnel, with the people at that position, give me an idea or a ballpark of what you think a split might be for each guy, like percentage of carries for Ives, for Nelson, for Mosey, and for Jamal Rule, who now I think you have to include in the conversation as well.
Yeah. The message they have is that last year was an anomaly. And so basically you're going to get your 1A back, who I guess you would say is like that, 14 to 16 touch guy. And maybe there's another guy who's 8 to 10. And then there's a guy with like 5. I mean, that's sort of how I would see it drawing up if it goes to what they're planning and talking about. That's always an interesting concept. It makes sense in the spring and summer when you talk about it. Sometimes there's a guy, though, that you just feel like has the hot hand, and it seems it can change week to week. Like the one guy will get 21 carries 1 week and then 10 the next, sort of deal. So I think it could be a little bit all over the map. I'm still interested to see exactly how, like, what that pecking order is, though. Like, who is 1A, 1B, 1C? I mean, I favored Mekhi Nelson probably going into the spring, and I guess I have no reason to change that. But I do think Jamal Rule is very much like a factor. Like, and I know on this show we've even talked about they were really trying to make Quentin Ives that short yardage guy, and that still might be the case. But who's to say Jamal Rule couldn't take that job? If he's up for it. Like early in the spring game, there was like a 4th and 1 on like one of the first series, and I think it was Jamal Rule who got the carry when they're working on that stuff. So right now I'm kind of locked in on Nelson, Mosey, and Jamal Rule, and then we'll see if anyone else can put their elbows in there and mix it up. But those are the main 3 kind of on my mind.
I think one of the things that happens in the transfer portal era is that you have the subsequent classes make you forget about the guys that were, say, the 2025 editions. Who do you think could be primed for a big second year now that they've been at Nebraska for 1 year that was a portal edition a year ago? And there's a number of guys that you could go with here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the guys right now from last year.
I can throw names at you if you want.
Yeah, throw some names at me.
The big ones, you have Isaiah Hunter, you have Williams Winery, you have Andrew Marshall, you have Jameer Khan, you would have those are the ones that are off the top of my head.
Yeah, those are all good enough to get me going. There was a guy I'm downtown Omaha, a guy was like screaming next to me. Sorry.
Wow, we don't hear him at all.
Yeah, it's very quiet.
No, he's gone. He was down the road. It really happened. I didn't just make that up. I just didn't brain freeze on you. But of the names you were saying there, obviously Andrew Marshall, I think he could be a lockdown type corner. I think he has that in his game. He had some Saturdays where he was very much like that. So that's a very good starting point. But I think one of the stories of the spring was Jameer Khan. You know, you even heard his name like right after the bowl game. Rule brought him up as a guy that Rob Orich sort of identified and liked. And then even before the first practice, he popped up again. And he started at nickel, but then he was, you know, more of a natural safety back there with Dwayne McDougal. And I mean, if I gathered like 3 or 4 main items, one of them is that Jameer Khan is very significant to the defense this year. And that's not something we necessarily would have said, like, you know, we definitely would have said that like last mid-December, you know, about him. He was sort of a special teams guy that was on the fringe. So he's definitely a big name there. And then, you know, Williams Nwaneri, you want to see those guys take off. And, you know, Brunson and I were recently talking about, like, Nwaneri's, you know, technically a sophomore still. There's like this whole crew of guys who are just like sophomores or third-year guys. And they don't necessarily have to be starters in some cases, but they really have to go up a notch, and they have to be good for this team to surprise people, because they've got to be the guys that actually give you know, their position groups depth. And so Williams Nwaneri, though, is certainly a guy you want to see him making plays and become like hopefully a force in that cheetah package that Rob Orich has been talking about with the different rush guy possibilities. I know Whittington's in there. I think Anthony Jones, he's not in this group we're talking about, but he's going to be a guy that, you know, is going to be very important in this defense too.
All right, BC, we'll let you go. Stay safe out there. Appreciate it as always.
I will. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7.
Do you think the guy was just yelling in general or yelling specifically at BC?
I don't know. Hard to tell. You never know what's going to happen in
You've
downtown.
never had Old Bay.
We'll take a break. Round out the hour after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, great news. Chris is back from the Final Four, and he brought us programs. And Schaefer immediately turned to the Nebraska capsule. And what did he see? But a picture of Berkay Buchten gel, the departed Berkay Buchten gel.
I saw a win. Is what I saw.
No, they won. They won twice.
Yep.
Famously. And then there was a picture of Berkay, and you got sad, I think.
Well, I mean, it's not great. I would have preferred here. I'll hold it up for the viewing.
There's the
audience.
Nebraska capsule.
Look, there's this entire page that tells you Nebraska beat Vanderbilt, in case you didn't think it actually happened.
Which I didn't know
in
that
the official program.
Our dear friend Chris Prudon, I didn't know that you were technically the producer of the Spanish broadcast.
That was something fun to learn.
Thank you.
I didn't all these years I don't actually know what you do at all. So
I know that's that's the point.
Prior to working
so
here,
I shouldn't have said that. Okay.
It's whatever.
prior to working here, Chris would just like pop up and be places. I was like, he's never on air. I don't know what he's doing, but he's just like around.
Yeah.
He's like wrangling people at the CWS and
That's right.
oh, here comes an entire plate of food. I kind of like this guy.
Yeah, we don't ask questions at that one. That's
Connor's learned
I
his
just said
lesson.
his
Most
job
recently.
title was wrangler. You know, like
Jeans.
no, like
Wrangler
you
jeans.
you bring people in or guests or whatever.
I mean, I do babysit the adults.
Yeah.
They've
Well, they
often-
need to be babysitted.
They've
That is
often
his
needed.
job.
All right, Connor, are you ready for your
Oh, is there an unveil?
secret gift? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
I didn't know we were doing this.
we close our eyes and we take off our headphones,
Off my
and then-
headphones.
and then we will.
I'm not comfortable with
Well, no,
this.
put them on the desk because it's a hat.
It's a hat. You already told me what it is.
Did I?
Oh, it feels foam.
There you go.
What is it? Guys, give me a clue.
Okay.
Give me a clue. What
It's a
is-
foam hat. There's your clue.
But what does it say? Does it say Final Four?
It's more the shape.
Oh. Is it in the shape of like a guitar or something like that?
You could probably play this.
Well, I mean,
Think delicious.
Think something I don't like, but it's something different.
Pizza?
It's-
California Pizza
it's not,
Kitchen?
it's not California Pizza Kitchen. You're think of a national pizza chain
Oh.
that has a specific logo that could be wearable.
Oh, like like a Pizza Hut.
Hey!
Open your eyes.
I am a Pizza Hut. Ah! All right, this is good. Thank you, Chris.
And comes with a matching bucket hat.
Oh,
Whoa.
wow. That is nice.
Now you know how much I love bucket
I do.
hats as
Oh,
well.
man, I am
Mike Schaefer,
jealous.
go
I
ahead.
want
That
the
is
bucket.
awesome.
Folks, we love Pizza Hut. Wow. How do you put All right.
Now you look like a Shriner.
Schaefer, there you go. Take off the headphones and go to the bucket hat with pizzas. Schaefer kind of pulls it off.
He does. Goes great with the purple.
I like it. Dave writes in, quote, I'm a Pizza Hut. That was me 2 minutes ago.
A former coworker of Chris's just sent a text and referred to him as Red from Shawshank. Like that's
He
effectively
gets stuff. I know
Prudon
people. I know how to get stuff.
It's true.
That's what he does. Or he just picks up the random piles of things that nobody else wants, which
Like the pizza.
like
foam
the
hat.
Pizza Hut foam hat.
But so I got that with the intent of the children for Hat Day. So I have, as we all know, many children.
Lots of children.
And they're always trying to come up with Wacky Hat Day. That is probably going to win.
Well, they can have it for Wacky Hat
Wacky
Day.
Hat.
We don't do Wacky Hat Day here at Usher Media Omaha, so
we do Bucket Hat Friday, Bucket Hat Thursday.
I mean, I can
We'll make it
totally
a
wear
thing.
this thing around.
But I am glad I got to be a Pizza Hut for even if it was just for a
I'm a
second.
Pizza Hut.
The official pizza partner of the men's Final Four on the NCAA radio network. Every game, every time our broadcast the broadcast open plays and that guy
David Lee.
David Lee. West 1-1. I get a text from one of my buddies. It's like, that just happened again. Every game. Now back to the College World Series. So that's next for you.
It is. We
Get
already-
excited.
Need a little bit of town time.
Two
and
months
then it's
away.
CWS.
We're a couple
No,
months
not
away.
really. I had an event in Lincoln last night. I'm out in Lexington, Nebraska this week,
Okay.
and then I've got something in Atlanta.
No downtime.
No doubt.
Start preparing.
It's already done.
Okay.
We're ready to go.
College World Series is over.
Canceled.
All right. Exciting.
Actually, I feel bad for Matt McLong's show. There's going to be an extra hour on 2 different days. Have you not seen the game times?
No, I haven't.
I haven't.
Yes.
are
have
they
been
are they
released.
moved
Someone
back an
say
hour
schedules?
this year?
There is I I think it was 1 and 6 for majority, and then there is a 1 and 2 days that are 1 and 7s, I believe.
Interesting.
It's out there. You just have to look for it.
Interesting. Okay, well, thank you, Chris, for the gifts. We appreciate. Yeah, unfortunately, we have to stay on clock these days.
Yes, Joey with his break fingers.
Yeah, we love the Joey.
Break
He
fingers.
gives us plenty of warning, which we appreciate. That is Chris Prudon, ladies and gentlemen, who has an unspecified job in a variety of different places. We'll take a break. 9 o'clock hour coming up on 1620 The Zone.
Update from Augusta. Actually, I'm sure we'll have our Westwood One Masters updates throughout the day today, but not on this show. And so the leader right now at 2 under, well, I guess we're tied. We have a man named Burns and we have a man named Olazabal. Do you know about Olazabal? Olazabal.
Jose Maria Olazabal.
Olazabal.
I'm pretty sure he's a former winner of this event.
What? No, he's not won the Masters.
Has he not?
No way. Olazabal? Olazabal? I've never heard of that guy before.
Yeah.
No way.
He's 60 years old. I'm assuming that he's
He won the Masters?
pretty sure that he won both the 94 and 99 Masters.
Oh, okay. Well, that's in the 90s.
It's before you would have known.
Definitely. Okay.
Sorensen has opinions on him, though, I'm sure.
Does he like him or does he not like him?
I think he likes him. I think he's a fan.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorensen he has opinions on golfers, as you might not be surprised.
He doesn't lack opinions.
No.
You could just call 8 a.m. on Thursdays the Sorensen segment.
L Pay 23 says, sheesh, Connor doesn't know stick. I do not know stick as it pertains to golf. I enjoy the Masters every year, but I definitely don't know the guy. Like, I get refamiliarized with the guys every year who are in. So I know the top, I don't know, 30 or so guys. Yeah. And then if you name a name that is gonna, just barely make the cut or whatever, I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I've heard that name before.
Sam Burns is a solid player. Younger guy. He's won a few tournaments. Probably not going to win the Masters.
John writes in
2 under through 2.
Olazabal is a new weight loss drug. I got the Olazabal shot.
You will see that as a commercial where it will have a very long list of potential side effects.
And the whole commercial is just reading side effects.
Sped up at 2.5 times speed.
By the way, some weather starting to come over the metro area. We are hearing reports
It looks dark.
We're hearing reports of hail.
Don't love that.
Things of that nature.
Not looking forward to that.
At 50th and Dodge right now, we are dealing with steady rainfall. But you know what they say, Schaefer? We needed the rain.
We could use the rain.
We could use the rain.
Your patch of dirt would love some rain.
No, my patch of dirt my patch of dirt is created little rivers inside of it to exit itself from the property. I hate my dirt lawn. This would be a perfect time to have fake grass. That way it could settle and then I could have real grass. But no, I have dirt lawn.
Have you gotten a timeline as to when you'll have real grass?
Absolutely not. I just took a phone call about something. I don't even remember what it was. They were like, hey, we're going to come over next week at some point. Is that cool? I'm like, sure. Awesome.
Someone will be there.
Walk your way in. That's fine. That's what's going on.
We don't own anything anyway. There's nothing for them to steal.
Black Cat says hail has ended out at the Grand China Buffet. All right, good. 114th and Dodge.
Thanks for the update.
I appreciate that. Grand China Buffet, a very popular place.
Need to hear that.
I have not been to the Grand China Buffet.
That's where we go to celebrate Nebraska getting bowl eligible.
Okay.
Party at the Grand China Buffet.
There's all these things I need to learn, apparently.
They're really just bits that we used to do on the Connor Happer show, the now defunct Connor Happer show, that we really don't have to continue. But I love a good callback, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, you can certainly continue them. I welcome the idea of it. I just don't know what they are. So I'll just look at you dumbly, which isn't all that different than normal.
Yeah.
But
I'm happy to explain things.
Just at least
makes me feel
where
smart.
it comes from.
We'll definitely bring back the schedule segments.
Yes, we will.
We will.
Matt wanted to steal the chunky.
Well, do we? I don't know if we grunt this like that. That's kind of an Odson thing. Odson saying,
we'll do our taste.
We'll do our version because Joey will be involved in whatever the NFL schedule is coming up on any given week. That is something that we'll have to evaluate once football season rolls around.
Get ready, people. 1 month and 4 days.
Soon enough, we'll be talking about college football TV times or TV networks and things of that nature. So Joey is very, very, very excited for this. By the way, we had some opinions earlier from Doug.
I'm in there for sure.
Yeah, he had 5. Old man Doug had 5.
I feel like he brought it today. I think he wanted to win the tickets.
So the most controversial of his opinions are, well, the most controversial opinion is his 5th opinion of the 6 that he sent in. where he says Masters Week is even better than the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament, which I just cannot get to.
Yeah, that's I can't get on board with that. I like Masters Week a lot. I enjoy the conversations that come around it. I enjoy Sunday if there's a great battle down the stretch. During the auction, the 2019 Masters was playing the Tiger one, and like there's a moment, I think he's on like 13 or 14, and they show the leaderboard, and it's like him and Molinari, and there's Koepka, and there's Cantlay, and there's like 9 people that are within like 1 or 2 strokes. That is when the Masters, like on a Sunday, is just phenomenal. When you have that many people that are in striking distance, and then obviously Tiger finishes that thing off. That's when it's absolutely great. You kind of get that like a half a dozen times on Thursday through Sunday.
You do.
Where you get the High Point moment, you get the Nebraska Vanderbilt moment, you get the St. John's Kansas moment, you get the Kentucky Santa Clara moment. You have all of that. And yeah, there's some blowouts in there, and there's some like games that you just turn off right away and whatever else, but that happens in the Masters as well.
Yeah, I there's nothing like setting your cat. Now, the thing about the Masters is like the NCAA tournament, I think a lot of people view it as the best stuff happens on the first 2 days. Like the peak watching experience of the NCAA tournament is the first 2 days. And that might not be the case for like the basketball quality perspective, but it is the most watchable part of the tournament. In the Masters case, I'm not watching until Saturday or Sunday because I'm a casual.
I will have it on.
I like to have it on.
throughout.
I like to have it on at work, but it's not appointment viewing for me until Saturday or Sunday.
I'll have it on.
And really, it's Sunday, and it's not appointment viewing for me right now. But I'll have it on the first 2 days of the tournament. It's appointment viewing the entire time.
I feel like I never get to watch the Saturday because for years it would be during the spring game.
Yes.
Or there's always invariably something that comes up that prevents me from being able to watch it on the Saturday. This year, wide open on Saturday, even more open on Sunday.
Intriguing.
So it is very good. I appreciate this. I will go home and just have it on the rest of the day.
Yeah, I probably
like that
will too.
That
who am I kidding?
It's nice to have on in the background. There's usually, a blow up or two that's worth watching as they occur. I mean, my guy Ernie Els had one of the absolute worst experiences ever. I forget which exact hole.
Ernie, that's one of Jake Sorensen's guys.
Yeah, that's
we
bond over our love of Ernie Els.
When I went to a golf major, multiple golf majors with Jake Sorensen, we had to fall around Ernie Els for 2 holes, and I was like, "What are we doing?" And Jake's like, "Ernie," and I'm like, "All right."
I stuck around at the Senior Open specifically just to see him tee off on hole 1 because he was one of the last people to go, and of course we got there at like 7 a.m. and then my group was ready to go. It was the same week that I was getting married.
Oh.
And so it was the Thursday of it. And I was like halfway tempted to just get to his people and invite to the wedding on Saturday.
Well,
be like, hey, if you're going to be here in town anyways, you might as well come over. Right?
Also, there's a big storm that's about to hit.
Let you make a speech. You don't know me, but people would love to hear from you.
They would love to hear from Ernie and any of his friends. All right. Max Olson's going to join us in a few minutes. I feel like we at least need to mention seemingly the biggest story that's going on in sports right now. This Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel thing. So the thing that makes this, obviously there's a lot of arms to this and a lot of different things going on, but it has become a very memeable story now because there are pictures and I've enjoyed the memes. I will say that they have been pretty funny. They're hugging on a
It feels
Vista.
kind of like the Coldplay concert thing.
It kind of does feel like that. They're hugging on a Vista. They're in the pool. They're in the hot tub. I don't know.
Where do these pictures come from?
Great question. That was my next thing. I have no
These
idea.
are real pictures. They're not manufactured fake pictures.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they're real.
Okay.
I think they're real. I don't know what's going on here, but it certainly doesn't look good. And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah,
This is bad. That's my take.
Well, there's the element that I think they're both married, so there's that. But then it's also from the professional side of things, not a particularly great look for an NFL insider to be canoodling with a head coach from a professional standpoint.
Yeah.
Also, just sets every possible stereotype up for that too.
So
not great.
the meetings, the NFL meetings were in Phoenix.
Mhm.
Is this right?
Yeah.
And then there was a scouting event in at Arizona State in Tempe, and then they just both happened to find themselves hugging each other and interlocking fingers at the Ambiente romantic getaway resort this past weekend. It markets itself as a romantic getaway place, which is
I want to be clear. I
So is
don't
it when
care
you-
what consenting adults do. I just think it's a really bad look from a professional perspective in the media. It's not a bad look for Vrabel in the sense that, like, it's bad if you're cheating, from a moral standpoint.
Yep.
But whatever there, professionally and ethically, it's not a great idea to have a relationship with someone if you're covering that sport and that league. Like, it's not great.
How many times have you interlocked fingers with someone that wasn't your wife or girlfriend or whatever at the time, and you weren't like praying? I don't even know if you interlock fingers during prayer either. It's more of a hand holding, if you're doing the Our Father thing, like there's no interlocking fingers there. There's really never a situation to interlock fingers with someone who you are not romantically
Now, you'll
intertwined with.
clasp hands on every bro hug you ever have.
Yes,
And
that's
so
not
that-
interlocking fingers
right.
though.
And so that's a distinction there. Yeah, I don't know that there's a lot of interlocking of fingers that goes on.
I'm looking at a picture of interlocking fingers, and it is by far the most damning thing that I've seen.
Yeah.
Even more so than
Just
the hot
you
tub.
saying interlocking fingers makes it seem 10 times dirtier
And-
than it actually is.
And they're facing each other. Okay, so they're facing each other while interlocking fingers. Maybe you're playing, maybe there's a game in school where you have to, you're facing your partner and you have to interlock fingers. That could be the only other situation. These people are not in third grade; they are adults.
This isn't square dance.
They are professionals, and they are looking at each other and interlocking fingers. And then they went to the pool together, or maybe they went to the pool together and then they interlocked fingers. I'm concerned about all this. I'm concerned about all this.
I'm not like concerned. I don't think it's a great from a professional standpoint. That's the only thing that remotely bothers me. Otherwise, it's consenting adults doing whatever.
Yeah, it's still bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that.
Yeah, it's definitely bad from
I
a
get that.
professional standpoint. There's no doubt about that. Or I should say, it looks bad. It has the
Yes.
appearance of bad. By the way, we're getting a lot of reports from all you, our eyewitnesses in the community, that our radio airwaves are down at the moment.
Oh no,
Mr. Desk, time to get to work.
good thing he's here.
He brought us back our Pizza Hut hats, and now he has to fix the
Do
radio.
you think he wants to wear this while he's doing his job?
I think he's got plenty of. I think he's got plenty of those left. I saw a few in the box.
Yeah, Strigori writes it. He says the actual AM part of the radio station appears to be gone. Are you just YouTubers now? Maybe
We are.
at this very moment. We appear to be
The Lumberjack
exclusively
Show.
YouTubers. I don't know how the app is doing. Probably not so good.
Mm.
So here we are, Stream Boys.
The lumberjack.
I'll go
frat
run to my
boys.
car and see.
Who's your favorite streamer? Do you have a favorite streamer?
Streamer?
Yeah, people who play video games on camera for a
No.
living.
I like.
Do you have
I
any-
don't.
can
Do
you
you like
name
to
any-
watch people play video games?
Can you name any streamers?
Josh Peterson.
No, doesn't count.
Jack Mitchell,
I mean, those are the.
Doesn't count.
famously.
No, I mean, like, I don't consume YouTube content. Like, I don't watch. Like, I have friends that watch. There's like they have golf people that they watch on there.
All right. Have
or
you ever heard of
travel people?
Kai Cenat?
Yes, I heard of him.
No.
He's got 20 million followers.
Whoa,
That's a lot of people.
I'm not one of them.
Have you ever heard of Ninja?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Okay.
Have you heard of these people?
I've heard of Ninja and Kai Cenat.
Are you a streamer? Like, do you have things that you stream and consume?
No.
There's like Instagram accounts of which I follow their cooking. Does that count?
Not really streamers.
Okay,
Those are just content creators.
Yeah.
Those are different.
We have Jinxie. Have you heard of Jinxie?
Mm-mm.
I've heard of
No.
Jinxie Cat from Meet the Parents. Soda Poppin', Clicks, Queso,
I heard
Tim the Tat Man.
Queso's good. Queso's got some food takes.
All right, good. Nick Merckx.
Nope.
Amaranth, Dream, Booga. These
You're
are all
saying
all
words.
American streamers.
You're
Apparently,
just saying words.
apparently the app is fine. By the way, so we're app people.
That's good to hear.
And stream.
I like to be an app person.
Let's take a break and talk to a popular content creator in the old-fashioned way. Max Olson from ESPN joins us next on 1620 The Zone. All right, let's talk college football. And we talk about college football. We talk about rules or lack of rules with Max Olson from ESPN. Joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Morning, Max. What's going on?
Good morning, guys. Good to be with you.
Are you excited for a potential for the potential outline of rules in the as it pertains to the 5-for-5, which may be happening soon?
I think that topic, like I've felt pretty strongly since probably last season, talking to coaches, talking to GMs about this topic. Like, I do think we need to get to 5-5, and I think the NCAA is probably just. I'm sure they feel this way too as they wage all these court battles. Like, we need to just get out of the waiver game and red shirts, and I think it's like, I think everyone kind of is accepting that at this point. And I think talking to some coaches, they've even sort of been preparing for this possibility, and like maybe you're playing more freshmen last year just because you think, hey, these guys will eventually get 5. But I think as we continue, we phased out the guys who had the COVID year now at this point, and so you're not going to have as many of these guys that are doing the 5th or the 6th year, but or the 6th year, just like the bonus years and stuff like that. But I do think this is where we need to get to, at least in college football, and I think that takes. Hopefully the positive effects there outweigh any of the negative effects in terms of maybe, again, messing with opportunities for high school recruits and stuff like that. But, I think if you can deal with this, then there's not as much stress on, okay, you need to play right away or you transfer. There's not as much stress on, hey, we're going to sit out the rest of the season and go in the portal and some of those types of things that we've seen pop up just because people are manipulating the redshirt year.
Have coaches or officials kind of talked about how mechanically they'd want 5-for-5 to sort of work? Like, do they want it grandfathered in for people that would currently, like if you were a sophomore or a junior now, all of a sudden you'd have an extra year, or would it start like very specifically with an incoming freshman class? Do you know like logistically how it sort of would work?
No, it's a good question, and obviously there's some details there when you talk about players that go on LDS missions and trying to tie this to 19 years old or things like that, where you kind of have some questions. And then obviously I think the NCAA it would like to also deal with the problems they're having in men's basketball and just the draft piece of this stuff too, because they don't want to continue to have schools kind of challenging them on that stuff. But it's a good question, Mike. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the best way to transition to that is. And I think there's going to be some messiness that comes with that. But yeah, I think it's like, I think if you're a current student athlete, you're certainly hoping they're speaking to you and saying that this is something that you will get to take part in during your career here.
How long? I mean, from coaches that I've talked to, Max, like people have been preparing for this possibility for a long time now. Like it's always been not always, but it's been the thought for a long time, like, hey, 5-for-5's coming. So we have to kind of make, have some precautions in there and at least think about this and what our roster would look like if the rule goes into effect. And I feel like we've been through 3 or 4 different cycles of that now. And here we are where it feels maybe more imminent than ever. And nobody knows exactly how it's going to work. I just wonder what the fallout of this being a threat for a while now might eventually end up being.
Yeah, well, and I think the pushback from the NCAA last year on this topic was, well, we know this would face legal challenges, and we don't want to get into this thing of somebody coming out and suing us and saying, well, why can't it be 6-for-6 or 7-for-7 or things like that? Because it is just sort of an arbitrary number in some ways, I suppose. And so there was a proposal I think from AFCA at one point of like, okay, how about, since we can't do 5-for-5 now, let's do like 9-game red shirts or something that's like basically approximates that.
Right, I remember that.
I think that I think that one effect of this, certainly if this goes into play here, because I know talking to some coaches last season, they're like, okay, if we go to 5-for-5, then I can get this guy and this guy and this guy back who could go in the draft. I think what you're seeing now, especially in college football, we're seeing the number of underclassmen draft entries go down because of NIL and because of the ability to pay a guy to stay in school. And so, I think it would contribute to we'll see what kind of changes they try to make around the portal with this, but I do think that would contribute to this furthering this thing of like, man, maybe the money's good enough that the guy does stay for 5 years, and you have a guy who's a 2-year starter who becomes a 3-year starter as opposed to going pro and being a mid-round pick or late-round pick. And I think obviously schools pay a premium for experience in the portal, so I think that would be an interesting piece of it too. Does it mean that it keeps more great players in college football and not having to go pro?
What, if anything, did you hear from people about the executive order? Like, was there any real reaction to that, or is it like, okay, this is great, but ultimately they still have to figure this out on their own?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more. Yeah, it's more the latter, and I think as we've seen over time, like the NCAA is trying to make changes, but they generally are going to respond faster to, when there's actually pressure and mandates, stuff like that. I think what it really means more is on the DC side, and just trying to, the president trying to signal what's important in terms of getting a bill together and getting some bipartisan support for that. And so, yeah, I imagine that's how administrators look at that stuff and say, hey, hopefully there's like positive momentum to this stuff now of trying to get some of this in line. That's the part that obviously there's just been years and years of lobbying, and obviously there are bigger priorities for our government right now than saving college athletics or any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, interested to see what the timeline is for that in terms of actually getting real progress after years and years of courting politicians and trying to get them to give this antitrust exemption and give the NCAA the power to change some stuff.
Max, I'm interested in coming from a person like you who is very, very much inundated in the day-to-day of the football transfer portal when it happens. As you watch the basketball transfer portal sort of play out, whether it's from afar or however close you are to it, but it's maybe not quite as second to second from your perspective. What do you watch for? What are you looking for? Comparisons? Like, how do you view the basketball portal that's going on right now compared to what goes on in the football portal?
Yeah, I mean, certainly anticipated that it was going to be bad. Bad. I mean, the bad. Like that's in the eye of the beholder. But like,
sure,
bad from in terms of just the extremity of like, if it's going on in football, it's going to go on in basketball, and that, like the thing that always pushes, the thing that always raises the ceiling here is just fear that your competition has more money than you and is going to outspend you and stuff. And so, we saw that in college football this offseason where, you've got these programs that are spending $40+ million on their rosters. And that leads to other schools saying like, well, yeah, 15 is just not even close to enough. We got to be at double that or triple that or whatever. And I imagine that's the case in basketball too, where people just assume, hey, if you're at the top of the market, you're paying, you're able to pay $3 to $5 million for a big time starter in the portal, and your roster is going to go to, some 12, 15, 20, whatever it is. And so, yeah, that just, I think just like in college football, that gives the agents working for these guys an incredible amount of leverage to say, hey, we need to get to this big number in a renegotiation, or we're going to go in the portal. And, you've also got the threat or the ability to say, we're going to put our names in the draft and go in the portal too. So I think on the high end, like it's going to make for some extremely expensive players. And, as we've seen with like Burke and Nebraska and like some of these situations, it's just like in football. It's like you have to make decisions on who you're willing to step up and pay to re-sign. And there's some trade-offs to that in terms of who you might lose if you can't afford somebody else. And so, it's not unlimited money certainly it's not unlimited money for a lot of basketball programs, right? In football, you can always maybe you'll overpromise and you'll try to figure out how to make up that money later on. It's a little bit tougher to do that in basketball, unless you're a school like Creighton, maybe that is, doesn't have a football program to support. But yeah, it's as expected. Looks like the business is booming.
I can't remember if it was last week or if it was a week ago. The blind transfer punishments sort of were laid out. What do you think that will be a strong enough deterrent? I mean, you'd lose your coach for 6 games. I think there's a monetary part of this whole thing. Or do you think there could be a potential court fight here because it's still a restriction of player movement and everything is going to court and everything is being sort of argued over? I don't know how that would work in terms of being able to suspend or inflict a monetary, penalty on it, but what has kind of been the reaction to the blind transfer punishment?
Yeah, I think for a lot of programs, when you tell the coaching staff that, hey, it's one portal window, you got one chance to set your roster for 26. I think for a lot of programs, it's like, okay, the money's been spent, and so we did all these moves in January. So it's not like there's a lot. I don't think there's a ton of programs out here saying like, man, we got this extra $1 million, like we should go get somebody, right? Like I don't think there's a ton of that going on.
Okay.
That being said, like, not to be cynical, but like, there's gonna be. I imagine there's gonna be somebody that tries this. There's gonna be somebody that has the money, and has the need. That's the big glaring thing is like, do you have the need? Did you lose a guy to injury in spring practice? Do you, is your quarterback not good enough? Is there some reason where you're like, okay, we got to figure out a way to do something dramatic here? I think there's gonna be somebody with money who says, this rule is BS, and we're going to challenge this in court. And the NCAA has gone too far in trying to legislate something here, and we feel like we can get some precedent behind us. I don't know who that's going to be. I don't know when that's going to be, but I think you talk to some coaches and GMs. I think there is a little bit of like, so that kind of resignation of like, well, we think somebody's going to try this, but it's going to have to be a very high-profile case that's the juice is worth the squeeze here if you're talking about those types of penalties. But I think if anyone's going to make that kind of move, they're going to assume that they can get that stuff struck down. But yeah, it's obviously extremely risky, and I think the alternative is you're trying to find a player at the junior college level right now, or you're trying to find a guy who's stuck in the portal, or a D2 player. Or maybe you're trying to still find a high school guy who's out there. So I think there's still other options beyond poaching a guy off a roster. But the window's closed in terms of poaching Northern Illinois players. So unless there's like a late coaching change here that just happens really randomly, and we've had like one of those a year. I think the window's kind of shut for most programs. We'll see if somebody is brazen enough to try to go for it.
All right, Max, we will let you go. As always, appreciate the time. Great stuff. And we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Max Olson from ESPN. ESPN. Couple things I want to get to when we come back to round out the show. We'll lay out the portal and what things look like from a basketball perspective today. I do want to remind you all first that Nate Bargatze is coming back to town this month, April 25th to be exact. CHI Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John and Josh and Nick have your tickets this week. Also, you get double chances to win on our website, 1620thezone.com. Same goes for Bert Kreischer. Yes, Mr. Jumps into the Pond himself. Bert Kreischer back in the Metro this fall, December 6th at the Mid-America Center. Pre-sale tickets go on sale. They're on sale now. And actually, we'll have to wait now for the full tickets to go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. So pre-sale's over Friday, 10 a.m. The tickets go on sale there, and you can enter online, 1620thezone.com, for your chance to win your way into Bert Kreischer coming up this December. We will take a break. Come back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, a couple things before we get out of here. First, an email from Aaron on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Connor at 1620thezone.com. Did I see this right? 17 pitchers for a 7-inning game? That is a certain kind of hell. Aaron in Papillion. That's right, Aaron. You did see that right. That happened last night at the Chuck Box.
Who sponsors the pitching change for Creighton games?
Good question. Like in the stadium,
the big hotline for.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like on the broadcast.
Yeah.
Well,
do they have an in-stadium sponsor?
I don't know.
Seems like a great way to advertise.
I agree.
There's always a lot of them.
And as far as the broadcast that I do, that John and I do, nobody.
Right.
They should though. It's a great opportunity.
It seems like the best way to get the best bang for your buck.
Man, when I was doing PA for the Storm Chasers, like that thing was just seared into my brain. It was it was Phoenix.
Okay.
It was the Phoenix. It was like this pitching change brought to you by Phoenix Food and Spirits. Yeah.
Another good Omaha sports bar.
Fantastic. Yeah. Aaron follows up. He says, I had an 11-year-old game last night where the ump had a tin can for a zone. Box score total 22 runs, 12 total hits, 3 innings in an hour 45. Not great. At least by 7 o'clock, it was a great night outside.
Did you ever ump?
No, but I wanted to. I
used
refed in college intramural.
Okay.
And that was fun. I really enjoyed that.
I umped Little League Baseball for several summers.
Ooh.
And I had a pretty wide strike zone, but it was more to just like try to keep things moving. So we didn't get, and it was,
that's what you want to do. You want to balance that out a little bit.
Explain to the coaches like early on, like, hey, it's not going to be like to the batter's box, but we're trying to keep this thing moving, And so I feel like if you set that early, people are good with it. But if you have a small strike zone for young kids playing baseball,
most of the time it skews the opposite way.
Because I don't want to sit there and I don't want people to walk. Nobody wants to watch this. They don't want to sit there through it.
No,
usually a dust storm.
I want to play more than 2.5 innings in an hour
sure.
45. That much is for sure. We were pacing for a long night at the park last night until Lou Rice ended it with a 3-run home run in the 7th.
Oh, Lou,
which we thank him for. By the way, we're gonna see some scattered weather this weekend.
It's beautiful out there.
But as of now, from the latest that I've heard, we are going to be on a schedule for Creighton and Seton Hall this weekend. So we'll see if we end up seeing Mr. Tarp for the first time this year. Then that might have to be a bridge we cross. Portal stuff for today. I think Creighton fans are very much looking forward to official announcements from Jackson McAndrew and Hudson Greer. They got Oswin Arunze yesterday. We never really talked about Oswin, which is a nice pickup, I think, for them. Like I said, guy they recruited out of high school and shot blocker, has a little bit of problems with the foul trouble.
Oswin Arunze?
Arunze.
Arunze.
Yes.
Oswin Arunze.
I think you got it.
All right, I'm good.
I think you got it.
I got that one down.
I'm excited. I think that's a nice little pickup for them. Not exactly, a guy that you're going to toss it into in the post from an offensive perspective, but Creighton has referred to itself a couple times as verticality U. Have you heard this? Verticality U?
No.
They're really good at not fouling, right? They're really good at
up and down,
verticality U, right?
Or just like Wisconsin football, they've developed the reputation of not doing something so the officials reward them.
Could be a little some of this, a little bit of this, whatever it might be. We are happy to welcome Oswin into verticality U because he has some foul trouble in his history.
So will his reputation follow?
Or
does it get remade?
Exactly.
In Creighton.
And I'm not just talking about a reputation. I'm talking about in the actual functionality of it.
Maybe
he just gets better.
He's better mechanically.
He will have
different
big man coach Alan Huss to work with him personally, which has paid dividends for many bigs before.
You'll appreciate that Drew Fielder, this Boise State player that Nebraska is linked to, 6'11", played at Georgetown. So had gone up against Creighton.
Fielder, I remember.
Had gone up against Creighton a couple times. one of the places of which I've been following their reactions to portal stuff, they went and looked up how he did against Kalkbrenner. And he was like, oh, Kalkbrenner only had 10 points in their match. It's great.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
It's like,
look at that. Kalkbrenner didn't do anything again.
Like, oh,
Fielder shut him down too. He's a point guard.
It's amazing though. It's like the brain of this is somehow you have to find a way to relate it back to how it works with Creighton. And then that can be the barometer of whether you're excited about this guy or not.
And he passed the test, it looks like.
I think he passed the test because he's a big that can shoot threes.
Nice.
I think that helped.
Nice. J-Man writes in, Fielder, I remember his brother, Prince.
And his dad?
Cecil. Yeah. No, I don't think he's in the family. Just a guess.
Slightly different Fielder.
Just a guess. So we'll see what happens in the portal today. But the biggest thing for Creighton is seeing the announcement, the impending potentially announcement of the return of Jackson McAndrew and Hudson Greer, which I think is probably the biggest thing you want to accomplish. And then and then I think you probably like how it's coming together after that. And then, you go out and find a point guard and you're in pretty good shape. You lost a couple guys yesterday, but we'll see what happens. For Nebraska, do they have their teeth sunk into anybody like so deeply where a commitment seems imminent at this point, Schaefer?
There's a few guys that names have been bandied about. I mentioned Fielder. There is also
not Cecil.
Not Cecil. Brant Byers is, and again, who knows? Like who
knows?
This is one of those things. He's Miami of Ohio guy who would be a junior, 2 years to play, 6'8", shoots threes. You've got the one that has come up a bunch from Belmont, Sam Orme, O-R-M-E. I don't know how to pronounce exactly. I believe a guard. And so,
what about the Italian guy?
No, another forward. They are
like the Italian guy.
All forwards. They're all 6'9", 6'8", shoot threes. They're all white. You're going to get a bunch of exciting white memes coming up again for Nebraska.
Well, maybe
basketball.
They can dip their toes in the exciting miscellaneous European whites category.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, go to, maybe there's an Italian guy out there.
Wines come from many countries.
And I guess is there a BYU guy?
Well, there is definitely a BYU guy in the portal. I don't know if Nebraska's linked to is it Robert Wright? Is that his name?
Maybe it's a different guy.
Right.
Maybe it's a different guy. I'm thinking.
But there's also a Utah Valley guy in Trevin.
That's the guy.
Or Leonhardt.
That's the guy.
He just feels like a classic Fred Hoiberg. We won't really get a point guard, but this guy can be our point guard because he's 6'4", long. Gets 5.5 rebounds a game, 6 assists, 12 points a game for Utah Valley.
Now that's an exciting white.
It's a stat-filling white.
That's what I'm talking about. So who
From
knows?
a winning team, Mike Sauter. Calm down.
Who knows? Yeah, Sauter's really bothered by that. So we'll see what happens in the portal today. Anything could happen. Enjoy the Masters out there, everyone. And I'm glad we have our board back as well, so we can hear John Fanta talk.
You're an idiot.
Yep, things of that nature. And I can play this outbet. That'll do it for us today. If you miss anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Let's do a crossover with Matt coming up next.